So this one's kind of a funny story. So there was a YouTuber who was
That's Brock.
that is not me. So this guy exposed as the real insider behind major Assassin's Creed leaks and other leaks. That this dude was violating NDAs, and he was only doing it for clout because he ended up getting really popular. Yeah, he got exposed, and we're gonna go into his whole apology and stuff.
It really does look like a fat you, though.
Does he?
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah, a little bit. Like if you gain some more weight,
guys,
that could be you.
Yeah, 100%.
Like if you had a fat face, that's you.
I wonder if he can read better than you.
wow, wow. Doc is back with us.
Hi guys.
Don't worry, I've been here the whole time.
You've been here the whole time. This Doc, Eldridge, has
Doc.
been gone.
The real one. I'm sorry. Where were you on? What was it called? RB?
What
rear?
do
Rear?
what do
Anyway.
the
Rear,
what do we call,
rear D.
Yeah.
What do we
Why is the
call
army-
people in the hospital?
Why is the
Hospital,
army?
man.
Why is the army got to make it sound gay?
Listen, man.
'Cause
If
they
I
were the
had the
first
answer
gay.
for that,
What's up?
like
They were the first gay.
The first gay.
so, like we're for those that are just tuning in, wondering what the fuck we're talking about.
Yeah, this is kind of
Doc's,
big conversation.
Doc's on what is it called?
RB, remain behind element.
Remain behind element.
Okay, that sounds like the most obnoxious fucking. Like,
it's like the
acronym.
left behind people, but
It's actually a Marine Corps term.
his
but
unit is deployed and he is not. So there's a lot of admin shit he needs to get done personally, but he can't do it because he's the only admin guy, and that's because everybody else is deployed. And I was telling them that the Army calls it rear detachment or rear D, and they were talking about like, wow, that sounds really fucking.
Like all you would need to do is just change that fucking acronym to RD.
The soap drops, the soap droppers. Yeah,
I bet you that's why they started all the Navy gay jokes, because they were the first super gay, and they're like, we need to take some.
We're gonna
fall off
shift
above.
this blame.
Yeah, we need to
like-
shift the gayness over to them.
to the Army.
Yeah,
You were
100%.
so what were you? So we were actually earlier. You know what? I want to front load topics before we get into any of this stuff because there is a lot to talk about today.
Is there Activision news?
No.
Fuck.
Well, I mean, if you want to consider the
you
Modern
consider the
Warfare
beta.
2 beta and the hacking problems that it's already had,
Oh Christ. So there's Activision news, everybody. Don't worry.
I haven't put it in yet. I mean, because if you look at
You haven't been
if
let
you look
down.
up there, all those tabs are all the topics I have pulled up.
This is so nice. We get to see a whole TV on the.
I know, I don't have
screen
to
now.
Oh no, it's
Fuck.
been so amazing because now he doesn't have to be like, all right, guys, our topics now.
Like turn the monitor, and you're just way over here.
I got so fucking sick of doing
Well,
that.
for the longest time, like a lot of our videos were me sitting here, like not just like, oh, like I'm looking at the.
You're
TV,
leaning
but
to
it's
see the
like
monitor?
this, like-
Yeah.
But
I remember
that's
these days.
because like, and then it was super inconvenient for me because I have to completely change my fucking monitor setup in order for you to see shit.
yeah.
And I was like, I am tired.
And now he can broadcast all the porn he wants to us all at once.
Yeah, I know.
All the
I used to
terrible
want to
porn.
put like
You know,
a sign
honestly,
here.
we've kind of moved away from most of the porn. I'll be honest.
Oh, we'll get back into it.
Uh,
We'll get back into
This
it.
is your fault.
There's still a lot of shit.
no.
You said
The
it.
fault is his because
No,
we-
you brought it up.
No,
You said
because
it.
no, I'm bringing it up because last time he talked about that one chick in a fucking Twitch who was like flashing her fucking pussy everywhere.
Which one?
As soon
Misbehaving.
That's fair.
Misbehaving.
But no,
Yeah,
as soon,
which one?
as soon as he brings it up, like he's like, oh yeah, you know, people get away with that shit all the time, and then just suddenly he's like, have you seen that? I was like, I'm pretty sure I've seen it. I don't think you've seen it.
Oh, yeah.
Starts typing. I
I
was like, oh
remember.
my god.
I watched that episode. I remember that.
So remember the text I sent earlier in the week about how the chick that got caught fucking on stream
Yeah.
did it again?
Yeah.
They did it again.
No, that was actually not true.
Oh,
Did you
okay.
not read the text messages?
No, not all. The time.
So apparently,
Makes sense.
Most of the time, but not all the
another
time.
version of that same night, a clip from that was circulating around again,
Yeah.
and people were saying that she did it again.
How do you have another version of that? I don't understand.
Because they only showed like the very end when she was like laughing and the guy was in the mirror and stuff. But this fucking video that was circulating around was 100% her getting railed from behind. Like she's just like, and you could see the guy's hands on her stomach and like her shirt's coming up and stuff. And she's really getting fucked. There is no question about her getting fucked.
I mean, to be fair,
Can
that
we
was
get a
like question.
reenactment of that again?
What?
Can we get a reenactment of that?
Nope. But the reason why that was circulating around again is because Twitch is under a lot of shit again.
Yeah.
And one is actually kind of funny because Amaranth yesterday was pole dancing in lingerie And this dude's like, so I get fucking my emote removed because it was questionable.
Because it's probably like an ass.
No, it was a chicken strip.
Mm.
This chick name is like something chicks, and her emotes are chicken based. So she had a chicken strip that Twitch deemed inappropriate. And meanwhile, Amaranth, with no consequences is fucking pole dancing in lingerie.
I'm telling you, are we seeing like the fall of Twitch in real time?
Oh,
like,
we're gonna
it
get more.
have to be. Like,
We are
yes.
definitely seeing.
Like,
I'm moving away
well,
from Twitch.
And not even because of that.
Well, I mean, like, not even just like, and you're right, like, there's other things, but like, not even just like this, but like, ever since I got on this podcast with you, in any capacity, like, it has always been bad news about Twitch. I've not heard like one thing like, oh, Twitch had a couple more people come into their thing, or like they pulled.
It's
some
always
people.
been something
It's
bad.
always negative.
They've been on a downfall since like 2019.
Yeah,
2018.
essentially,
It's been rough.
Like,
Like they've been doing some really dumb business practices, especially, and we're actually going to talk about it. In fact, this is the first thing.
All the main people have left.
A lot of the main people have left. So Twitch,
and YouTube just eating it up.
so Twitch partners standard across the board for Twitch partners was a 70-30 revenue split.
Yeah.
They're now reducing that to 50-50 across the board. Unless it's like a custom contract.
It was for a while. Like they cut it back to where it wasn't all partners that would get it. So they cut it back to where like only a few, like you had to be within a certain status, like how many viewers, and then you could get a 70-30, and then obviously the specific contracts and everything.
Well, the worst part is their reasoning for doing this. They're saying that Twitch is an expensive platform to run and shit, and that they can't afford to do the 70-30 split for everybody.
Yeah.
But and this is coming from fucking Amazon saying that Twitch is expensive to run. And I've had people say Amazon won't let that fail. Amazon is literally letting it fail.
Well, Amazon,
because they said we can't afford it. Like, you are the richest company in the world.
well,
and
Amazon
you can't
doesn't give a
afford
shit about Twitch.
I know they don't.
Yeah,
they
and the only
really
person
don't.
Who's even remotely in the same ballpark as Google, and it's like this is insane. Like,
And YouTube does a 70-30 split regardless of where you are in the partnership.
Well, I think that part of the reason why they're saying that we can't afford this is because Twitch has reached out to fucking Amazon, and Amazon's like, listen, man, you sink or swim, and
Yeah, because they don't care.
Well, they don't. Well, I mean, why would you care?
That's not their moneymaker.
I mean, well, it's the idea. It's like, why would you care? Like, I mean, you're such a big company. This is not going to save or break you.
Mm-hmm.
And so, when it comes to this, Twitch is like looking out. They're doing all these dumbass business practices. First of all, I don't know why you just don't fix the business. Like, even simple things that like are very easy to fix. Hey, either allow everybody to pole dance on your fucking platform, or allow nobody to pole dance.
The
on your
double
fucking
standard
platform.
thing is is another big issue why people are leaving, because it says it's not fair for everybody. You're picking and choosing who you want to punish and how harsh.
And it kind of depends on how large
And I had
that
some
creator
fucking
is.
smoke tard on Twitter.
Smoke Tart, that's a new one.
He
That is a new one.
fucking retweeted, because Sergeant Jackson has been pushing for partner. He's a regiment member. And they keep denying him.
Mm-hmm.
And he actually was told the reason why they were denying him is because he wears military gear on his stream.
They told him that.
And that's what he was saying. That
Wait,
he
what
said
does
it
he
was
wear on his-
suggested to him.
wait,
He
what does he
wears
wear on his
kit.
stream?
He wears like a little vest, like a harness, like a rig.
I mean, that's kind of weird. I wouldn't do that, but
like a
do
flag.
you?
Well,
It's a
it's
theme
like
thing.
a
Right.
it's a niche
Yeah,
thing.
well, that's what I said. Do you?
That's what I did. I used to do that all the time. I used to wear my kit.
Yeah, but we already know you're a loser.
Thanks, man.
Wow.
At least I fucking operated, bitch. But anyway,
Hey, listen.
but the point
we
was-
all know that I haven't been able to, not because I didn't want to, but because Big Daddy Navy does not
well,
want us.
the point is that
Between y'all.
Twitch was telling him he needed to change his appearance because that was enough to keep him from partnership. Meanwhile, you have Twitch partners that actively do sexualized stuff all the time that violates the terms of use and service. Like,
It was what they portrayed violent something, or like portrayed violent behavior.
I
or
don't
something
know,
like
but it
violent
didn't
images.
though. It didn't though. I don't know what it was, but like you have.
well, then that translates into so many other things though too. It's like, oh, you wear a camo shirt, that's violent. Get the
So
fuck
when
outta
I
here.
said
Like,
I said and this is just me that's saying that, and I even said that in the comment. Fuck Twitch, because they have this double standard where people can fuck
well,
on
it's not
stream
even-
and
it's
only
not even women. It's certain women.
it's certain women. It's
Yeah.
even certain streamers on
Yeah.
both sides where it's like they pick and choose who they punish and how harshly they want to punish them.
yeah.
And
How
it's-
much does this person make us? Oh no,
And-
they can. Get
Well,
away
I don't
with
even
this.
think it's that, because it's like the chick who fucking was fucking on stream. She wasn't a big shot streamer.
And she got only punished for 7 days.
And then there was the other fucking chick too who just decided to fucking spread her cheeks on
and got 3 days.
and got 3 days. And she wasn't like one of the top dog fucking like
she
She
do
was,
that
she was a
multiple
partner. Yeah, she did it multiple times. She's been banned several times for this kind of behavior.
I mean, what
So
I'm
there's
saying
a
is that she
pattern
was not
there.
one of their biggest ones. That's what
But
I'm saying.
anyway, this dude retweeted my comment on that
Mhm.
and said, "Define mostly naked." And I'm like, women wearing almost nothing. Like, what more of a definition do you need?
If I can only pull one to 3 articles of clothing off of you, you're mostly naked.
Here's the thing:
Usually.
whenever someone that has their fucking pronouns in their bio is automatically have an invalid opinion about everything in life, because it's like, I'm a he/him. It's like, cool. So nothing you say is of fucking value, because if you're gonna really start an argument on Twitter about that and then try to fucking and I noticed this. People will retweet your comment to try to stir shit up with you.
Hmm.
And it's just like, you're a retard. Like, you are a fucking retard. Like, is that really, like, you have nothing better to do in your life except that?
Yeah, but
So
in their defense, though, that works for a lot of people.
it
A
does.
lot
But
of
I was
people do.
like explaining, like, well, someone that's wearing almost nothing. And they said,
Yeah.
and then he tried saying that, like, but that person that got caught having sex on stream, or like the chick or misbehaving that exposed herself on stream, they're like, but she was still punished. I'm like, for 3 days, that's not a punishment.
But then there's
but
a
there
lot
was,
of other,
but
there's
that's
a lot
still
of
a
other people
punishment.
who get permabans though.
And that's
It's not fair.
the point I was getting at was,
Right.
like, there's a huge bias and inconsistency and a double standard that is the big problem with Twitch.
Yeah, like
And they're
saying
like,
somebody gets
but the
punished.
person still got punished. It's like, you are missing the point, you fucking idiot.
That's like saying, that's like giving a punishment to someone for murder, saying, okay, you get a year in jail, and then another person murders and they get like life in prison.
You're talking about celebrities and politicians
Just,
and
well,
the
not just in
everyday
general.
person.
I'm just saying, then you can say, oh, they were both punished. Yeah, but the punishment has to meet the crime.
So
And
we
it's gotta be
are gonna
more fair.
we
Well,
are gonna
it's like there's no standardization to it, because even still, not even just women, like certain women are allowed to do it, and then certain women who, like, oh well, they had a crop top on, banned, like,
Yeah.
just gone, like they're just gone. There is no like, oh, for 3 days, 7 days.
I wonder what the science is, because I've seen a couple shows on Netflix, like the 100 People or whatever, and they've done experiments where on both sides of the spectrum, male and female, the more attractive that you are,
the more that you get away with
yeah, the
things.
more
Oh,
you're
well,
able to
yeah.
get away with. So I
Right,
want
and
to
of
see how
course.
many generally unattractive people get away with this.
So on top of the revenue bullshit, we're gonna talk about the Twitch content chief left following this.
What about the gambling thing? We got the gambling thing on here too.
The what? The gambling? Oh yeah, of course. So with that, also there was a huge protest going on, or discuss with Twitch partners, that were gonna, protest the fact that there was gambling scams going on Twitch, where people were gambling, like legitimately gambling, slot machines, all that stuff. And
I like
Twitch
slots.
finally decided to do something about it, but not completely.
Yeah, it's kind of
So we're gonna dive into more of that.
the reasoning for it is
This one's a
selfish
real.
as well.
This one's kind of.
Ads.
So this one's kind of a funny story. So there was a YouTuber who was.
Oh, it's Brock.
That
Oh,
is not
never
me.
mind.
It's Brock with glasses.
So there was a YouTuber who exposed. There was a guy that was posting insider information about Assassin's Creed games and other Ubisoft titles, and it was always very accurate. Like
what,
he
did
even
he post like the previous game?
no, he posted the code names for all the because they're all the same. But he posted all the code names for every fucking Assassin's Creed coming out. Which, by the way, there's like 5 coming out that they all announced in one day. And this
That's
guy,
weird.
this guy was announcing on his Twitter, which, by the way, so there's this thing called it was like an Insider Gaming or whatever the fuck his name was, the Real Insider. He had a Twitter account called the Real Insider that he would post stuff that he knew about upcoming shit in the gaming industry. Well, the truth is that it was actually himself posting these on an alternate account, violating non-disclosure agreements with all these companies.
Ooh.
So, and he ended up slipping up and accidentally posted some insider information on his main account, and people were like, "How do you know that?" And then, so this guy exposed as the real insider behind major Assassin's Creed leaks and other leaks. He ended up apologizing because this turned out that this dude was violating NDAs, and he was only doing it for clout, because he ended up getting really popular. And because they were like, oh, this dude's accurate on all of this shit. And even he would often like retweet the fucking stuff,
Well, of course, advertise yourself.
and
Yeah.
he would advertise himself, but not show it as himself,
Right.
because obviously he'd get in trouble for
Because you
it.
can retweet it. That's fine.
And yeah, he got exposed, and we're gonna go into his whole apology and stuff.
It really does look like a fat you, though.
Does he?
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah, a little bit. Like if you gain
Like,
some more
look,
weight,
guys,
that could be you.
Yeah, 100%.
Like if you had a fat face, that's you.
I wonder if he can read better than you.
wow, wow, wow. All right, man. Here's some big news about GPUs.
You know what I didn't hear? I didn't hear that I was wrong.
You are wrong.
Mm,
Watch, I have an actual like disability that causes me not to be able to, I have a hard time reading out loud, and you guys are making fun of me.
I mean, you would be justified for it, but that's not going to stop us.
So EVGA, which
Heads
is
back to the VA.
so
Hey, guys, I got
EVGA
another one.
EVGA is really famous, is really big with making NVIDIA GPUs.
Not anymore.
Not anymore, because they had a falling out with NVIDIA, so they will no longer be making graphics cards, which is huge news.
It's crazy though, because it's 80% of their revenue.
It is, and it makes you who EVGA or NVIDIA?
EVGA's 80% of their revenue was NVIDIA.
I'm curious
GPUs.
what NVIDIA is going to do, because they literally, and this is another thing we're going to talk about, NVIDIA just announced their new fucking GPUs.
I'm more curious what EVGA is going to do. What the
So,
fuck?
well, the NVIDIA CEO actually made a statement saying the market will be served well after EVGA, but it was a great partner.
Well, because they're the ones that make the GPUs. so they can
EVGA
find
apparently
another-
was like not on good terms with NVIDIA,
That's 'cause
and
they-
dropped them.
the NVIDIA like made a ridiculous price for them.
Probably.
Like they just ass raped them. On
So,
money.
and this is where I got confused. EVGA says they're not going to manufacture the GPUs anymore, but NVIDIA literally the next day, actually the same day, announced that they are making next gen GPUs. They're already working on the RTX 4090 and the RTX 4080 GPUs.
they can always find another.
And they're actually going to be arriving on this October.
They
This is
probably
something
already
they've been
had-
preparing for. Yeah.
Yeah, they probably already got another.
And if you're smart at all, it's something that you would be preparing for.
Yeah.
Like,
if you have a sense of like, we're probably not gonna have them for a while.
So,
Right.
for Splinter Cell fans out there, Ubisoft announced the new Splinter Cell remake will be an update to the story for a modern day audience. So it's a complete reboot.
that doesn't sound good at all.
No, it's not. You know,
When you say modern audience, that makes me think that you're going to change everything.
I'm
with this
Sam
one.
Fisher. They them.
That's Gen Z.
Sleeper agent. For
we're appeasing to Gen Z in games now. It's gonna be a terrible game.
my name's Sam Fisher. They them work for the NSA, Sector 6.
Pansexual.
Whatever. But essentially, I'm an asexual fucking man. But yeah, we'll dive more into like what that entails. So this is a weird one. The U.S. Homeland Security will spend $700,000 to investigate radicalization through video games.
That's interesting. I feel like we might have touched on this a long time ago.
No, this is new. This came out on the 23rd. This came
Yeah,
out.
this is new.
Yes,
This is new, but I
the other day.
swear we've mentioned it in a similar. It might have been when Sony was talking about like recording all of their stuff.
That might have been what it was. But I want to. When we read more into this, my speculation before we do is that it is very well known that terror organizations do share information through games
Yeah,
because it's not well monitored by the government.
So I'm going to immediately say that everything that you just said there may be totally valid. However, that first line underneath the big title tells me that they're going in the entirely wrong direction.
Oh, I'm sure they are.
Because when was the last time? And because not even just like, you know, because the issue is that when you start talking about what do people talk about when they play games, is that kind of then turns into like, well, I'm sorry, like I understand that like, you know, radicalization is like a bad thing, but do not monitor my conversations because go fuck yourself.
yeah.
I mean,
Person-
Snowden was fucking right. So
You know what I mean? Like, but that's my thing though, is like, you know, I don't care if what you say about radicalization. That does not give you a right to monitor what I'm saying
Yeah, that
on my free time.
justification.
Like, go fuck yourself. You know what I mean? It's kind of
where
like
they look at your conversation out of context and then
of
think
course.
that you're a
you
fucking
could.
terrorist.
Well, because it's not even just that. It's again, like I said, it's not even just about like the whole like, oh, what are you scared of? No, fuck that. It's the idea that you have. There's no right that you have to need to look at my shit.
It's the broad justification
Right. Well, it's
to
kinda,
do
it's,
it.
it's the idea of like, you know, when people say like, oh, well, you need to watch what you say or go fuck yourself, because free speech, while it sounds like a really bad argument just to say like, oh, fuck you, It's really easy to tell everybody, if you're going to control people, you don't start by saying, oh, well, you're not allowed to disagree with me. You start by saying something that everybody would typically agree with, which is why, like, when a lot of politicians talk up about it, it sounds really bad on the face, but it's like, what kind of speech needs to be protected the most? Legitimately speaking, it's hate speech, because everyone can say that you shouldn't be able to say the N-word legally. You know what I mean? I'm not talking about like socially. I'm talking about the government should not be able to intervene no matter what I say, right?
Yeah.
Right.
Now, that sounds awful. Like, oh, what? Do you want to say the N-word? Not at all. But it's the idea that if you start telling people what they can and cannot say at all,
It grows.
It grows. It gets worse. And we can see that by literally the last couple of years. You know what I mean?
Not even just that. History has shown that other governments would, like, look at Russia.
Oh, yeah.
You have people, like, during the war, like the start of the Ukraine war, people weren't allowed to fucking say opinions on that war without going to jail.
It's the premise that you can have free speech, but it's not negating that there's not consequences for
right.
what
It's like, listen, if someone beats your ass because you say the N-word, am I gonna feel bad for you?
No, fuck no.
Now, am I gonna stand up for you if the government starts coming after you? It's a different story, because then people are more worried. Not like, oh, I agree with you. It's this is not a government issue.
It's suppression.
Exactly.
Because it's a slippery slope.
And that's what this worries me about. You're worried about nationalism and fucking white supremacy in video games. When was the last game that even remotely leaned that way in terms of the game itself?
Well, Rogan has talked about when you suppress somebody or censor them, it's all good and fun because you agree with that censorship until they censor either you or somebody or something that you don't agree with and shouldn't be censored. But we've already started that ball.
One of the big things, and this is by no means me saying like, oh, I feel sorry for billionaires, because personally, fuck them. But
I don't either.
But the thing is when people say like, oh, well, fuck the top 1%, I was like, that's still a bad thing, because you're not trying to fix anything. You're just hating on people, right? You know what I mean? But what is the top 1%? Because as soon as you take it past like the United States, suddenly everybody in the United States is the 1%. You know what I mean? And then you say, oh, well, so you're the problem now. And they're like, well, no, I'm not. No, I'm not. Fuck the 1%. That's Bill Gates. I was like, sure, of course that's Bill Gates. But like, we're the top 1% when you take the entire planet.
Yeah.
You zoom out just a little bit and suddenly we're the bad guys. So you're not sticking,
in a lot of cases,
so you're not sticking up for like, anything good. You're just kind of being an asshole because you were led to believe something.
This whole thing right here is going
to fucking worries me, because there's stupid shit.
This is a slippery slope. It really is, because, I was thinking more of like, we'll dive more into it. On one hand, it's like, if you're looking into see terror organizations exchanging information through games, which does happen, fine. Okay. You're trying to make sure that doesn't happen.
That doesn't seem like what they're going for.
If they're going for like, we're going to listen to what you say and determine how radical you are, that's fucking weird.
That's literally some China shit right there. That's what they do in the fucking communist regimes.
I know. Yeah, it is. We are also going to unless you've been living under a rock in the deepest parts of the fucking ocean, you would have heard already that the Grand Theft Auto 6 leak happened last week, Sunday, I was so upset that it happened and we didn't record anything, because this was the biggest fucking story and it literally evolved rapidly throughout the week.
Well, no, that's good, because usually we get like the beginning of a story and then 2 days later there's a fucking update.
That is true. So like now we've come full circle with the whole story. So last Sunday there was a massive GTA6 leak where a hacker got into Rockstar and got a hold of portions of the source code for GTA6, along with 90 or more clips of development footage of GTA.
Good footage either.
Well, okay, here's the thing.
So what? No. Hold on a second. So we all knew that fucking Rockstar started development on GTA6 like what, a decade and then some after GTA 5 came out?
No, actually, the hacker stated that GTA6 has been in development since 2014.
Wow. So it was so bad that they told everyone that it was early development. That's That's even worse.
No, but the footage they showed was early development. Like the footage they showed was from
like
2019.
I mean,
so
still like
so people are judging this footage, and even Rockstar has said this game looks nothing like what you just saw.
I'm sure.
Well, look at Red Dead. So it's going to be modeled a lot like off of the footage that I've seen, because it's all developer footage. This is old
Sounds pretty
footage.
cyberpunky.
It's actually not. So Rockstar, when it comes to these kinds of games, except for the fucking definitive edition of GTA 6, they took the model off of Red Dead. I think what they were doing is they were developing, they were taking notes of the end of the near ending development of Red Dead 2 and saying, this is how we should do GTA. The mechanics are all good. The RPG elements are also really good. And then they saw the success of it. So I think in 2019 is when they really ramped up because they wanted to see the audience's reaction to the elements of Red Dead 2, which now that it's been really positive, the last several years have been really ramping up the type of stuff they do for GTA. So judging this game and some of the stuff that I've seen off of the footage, have you seen any of the footage?
No, I haven't, but I guess I'm a little worried about them basing it off Red Dead 2 because then that
they're basing the mechanics off Red Dead 2.
But the reason why I guess I'm worried about that is because one, I don't have a whole lot of faith in these fucking developers. Like I just don't. Like literally the only person who has my fucking trust right now is From Software, and that's because I can't find a reason not to.
You have such a fucking bias for them though.
Well, no, I do, and I'll admit that. But like, think about it though. Activision, Ubisoft, even Rockstar. Like, when was the last time that any of those people didn't have a colossal fuck up? Even
so, when it comes to Rockstar's true like real IPs, and we're not talking about the remasters, like the definitive editions.
Right.
The last two IPs before this were actually really good. You had GTA 5 and you had Red Dead 2.
Yeah, but
so this is an original IP.
But even if you take those two things, and which are fine, Red Dead was fine. That I have no complaints about that. But you take like GTA 5, like I do not want them to base what they're going to do in GTA 6 off of anything that they did in 5, because everything about 5 was a fucking cash grab. Everything about
for the online portion, it will always be like that. But when it comes to the actual game itself, the single player, that's really going to be it's good. That's where the good aspects will be.
Right, but it's still the issue of is that if they're going to base it off of something like Red Dead, which is cool, that's fine, it's not an issue. But then I'm also worried, is it going to get repetitive? Because I'm thinking
well, Red Dead 2 wasn't repetitive.
I mean, to be honest, I'm still watching a horse's ass bob up and down. I understand that's part of the game, but still. But the thing is,
there's so much more.
What I'm worried about that though is in general, what's going to happen? They've developed a formula. They have their formula. I'm afraid it's going to be Ubisoft all over again. And hey, here's GTA, another one. Does it look different from the first one? Not really, but here's another one. And that's what I'm kind of scared of with like the Assassin's Creed.
So
if it doesn't look different after over a decade, we have problems.
The premise of GTA...
Graphical upgrades don't count.
So the premise of the story for GTA 6 is it's like a Bonnie and Clyde story. So you have two protagonists, and essentially what it is like this chick and this guy fall in love, but she's with a guy that's part of the mob. Mm-hmm. And the whole point is they're trying to run from the mob, and they're trying to do a heist to get out of Vice City because it's in Vice City.
Okay.
So
I don't know. 2 protagonists is less than 3. Failure. Get that shit out of here.
Are you talking from GTA 5?
5, yeah.
Honestly, but less can be more.
No. I'm just being facetious. But
so like when it comes to the story, it's a pretty interesting premise because it's like you have a Bonnie and Clyde story.
Yeah.
With these two people running from the mob and then also doing various bank heists to get the fuck out of Vice City and run from the mob.
This is in Florida.
Vice City is Florida.
It's like Miami.
Yeah. It's like Miami-ish.
Is
yeah.
it like the Cuban mob?
The Italian mob is in fucking Florida too.
I mean, I
just assume Miami would be the Cuban mob.
I feel like I feel like it can be a good story. I guess the only cynical part of my brain is kind of like, how many bank heists do you need to get enough money to fucking leave?
We just need more money.
I bet your role play is going to be phenomenal.
No, yeah, well,
probably.
I think that's what saved.
So even though that it was early footage, the graphics still looked pretty good.
Well, and I do agree with you. It's like, depending on how early you are in development, it's really hard to judge.
The footage that he showed was like stuff that people were never supposed to see. This was specifically for developers because it even had the developing tools showing and all the code and stuff that they were doing and implementing and the dialogue boxes and stuff for all the different dialogues that was going on.
I'm still skeptical because that still tells me if it was from 2019, that's still 5 years after where they said they were developing from. So that should be 5 years of development.
They probably didn't want you to know how close and how far in development they were. It's the same with Red Dead. They were very, very secret about everything when it came to Red Dead.
When EA said the beta for 2042, they're like, no, that's a really old thing.
EA is a little bit different.
Well, a lot of the good companies, if you notice, a lot of the good companies though who like come out with like really good products aren't going to tell you until the product's usually ready. They may know that you're developing a game, or even if that you're developing a sequel, but they don't know how far along you are, because then you run into a cyberpunk problem where it's like,
They hype it.
hey, we're delaying again. You're like, everyone's like, fine, fuck, okay, whatever, and then then you feel pressure to release it too early.
Also, you got to look into when developers actually talk about when they say our true development cycle started now. It can mean various different things. That doesn't necessarily mean we started from the beginning of the drawing board. What they usually mean when they say that development really has started, that usually means they have all the assets they need to actually, and the world has already been built. They are just actually implementing it within the world and just working out the bugs. That them actually like starting their cycle, all this other stuff is like kind of like it's like categorized, right? So you have everything's kind of compartmentalized in different places so that other departments within the development cycle can work on those separate things. And the true development start is when they are putting it together.
Yeah, when you like
and working out the kinks.
Yeah, it's when you like have the story put together, you have the graphics, the art style, the engine all put together.
All the other stuff has already been made by that point.
Yeah.
Typically. It's already been made. They're just putting it together and polishing it out. At that point, the true development, that's what like the long time is like making it all the pieces fit, all the graphics look good, all the mechanics are sound. They're, the major bugs that they have when it comes to this kind of stuff are getting ironed out. So that footage was them starting to put this shit together in 2019. And that's what they were doing. You could see the guy, they were just randomly shooting fucking magazine after magazine into this boat, trying to make sure that all the different pixels can render the bullet holes and stuff, and that everything functions properly, and then even the dialogue, going through different dialogue and working on the different RPG mechanics.
Yeah, have you seen how people like game test? It is like you're not playing the game to have
you're
like
doing
normally.
a lot more
You're like
statistical like stuff.
It's almost like you're trying to break certain mechanics.
Yeah.
That's why like you'll see some like game footages of like testers or even just like developers. It's just them shooting for like half an hour.
Yeah,
And
people think game testing means that you're basically playing the final product.
And if you look,
and some of it
Yeah.
is that, but like most of the game testing and game development is we have most of a product here, and that people are going to play this extensively. I need to literally try to break this to make sure that the shooting, the animation, the reload animation works every time.
and that's one of the things they were also shown in the videos, was that they had a cop. There was like a side profile that they had with all the different lines and dots on every single like anchor point on the character model, including the firearm, to see how recoil worked and the functionality of the firearm and stuff. Yeah. And there's all these different codes around it and stuff, to where they were like, really fine tuning the mechanic. And then they even had one where the girl that you play as was walking around, and like they had her character model cylinder where it had like the lines all around her, and then when she was aiming and shooting, you had the line where the gun was aiming, and then the little sphere for the bullet spread. Yeah. So it's that kind of footage.
Yeah.
And people are like, dude, this looks like shit. Like, this is not stuff we were ever supposed to see.
Yeah.
And to me, when I was looking at it, I was like, I actually kind of found it fascinating, because for me,
right, you're
especially
seeing
being
the development of it.
You're seeing the development, and me being like, because I'm going for programming, seeing that kind of stuff, I'm like, so that's what that looks like. Like you to see how they implement all these different mechanics into a character and shit. I thought it was pretty cool.
It's okay with ones and zeros. He doesn't have to worry about reading.
It's not one. Fuck you. Rockstar also issued a statement as a result of this, and there's even more development stories of this. So everyone was speculating that this leak was going to cause a massive delay, because some of the source code got leaked too.
Yeah.
And
I think testing is also similar to like Grandma's Boy.
Yeah,
like they did really good justice of like showing how
development works.
Development is, yeah.
So they thought there was going to be a delay. Rockstar issued a statement that things will continue as planned. Now, everyone was wondering who the fuck this hacker was, and over the weekend they found him. The FBI got involved. And the reason why the FBI got involved is because he was actually part of an organization that hacked various different companies, to include Uber, DoorDash, the Bank of Brazil.
I wonder if this correlates with the DoD or the Homeland Security thing.
I don't know.
Never know.
And also 2K was hacked too. They also got shit from 2K. So this guy, and he was this kid. It's a 17-year-old kid out of the UK. Also, this kid was previously arrested and was out on probation from
Wait, the picture didn't look like a 17-year-old kid.
that. What picture? The one that Twisted Fred shared?
No, I don't think so.
There was
But there was like a mugshot of something.
there was a
with
mugshot of a
beard.
guy that people were saying was a former Rockstar employee that did this, and that was not true. That was a comedian.
Okay.
That was a comedian's photo.
And what did he get arrested for?
So back the hacker.
No, the comedian.
I don't know. I didn't look into it. So the hacker had been arrested back in April for the same shit,
Right.
and he was out on probation. He had restricted restricted and monitored internet access.
Not enough.
Wait, how do you? Anyway, continue.
It's I don't know, but he did it again. So he ended up getting arrested over the weekend.
Who's monitoring his shit?
And the UK, like I want to say Scotland Yard got him, and the FBI are also working and making a case. This dude's fucked. This dude is he's not only going to be brought up in federal charges, but it looks like he fucked with Rockstar. And Take-Two does not take this shit lightly.
It's just weird. I don't know. I guess you do it
Lightly.
you do it once because you're getting paid to. I can kind of understand you get caught. Okay, cool. Like,
Well, he was
stop.
trying to extort Take-Two.
Right. It's just the idea of like, okay, stop your shit. But the fact that that you're on fucking probation, you know, if you get caught doing this again, you're gonna get fucked over.
In a Reddit thread,
Like, it's just like, fuck, dude.
in a Reddit thread, this kid was saying he was telling Take-Two and Rockstar, I'm willing to negotiate to get their source code and everything back. So he was saying that he wanted to get paid for this shit. And it's like, dude, Take-Two has sued people for mods. What do you think they're going to do to you?
Sounds like radicalization.
At the very least, if he doesn't get brought up on federal charges, at the very least, he's going to get sued for everything that him and his family after him are worth. And they're going to fucking...
I want him dead.
Dude,
I want his family dead. I want his dog dead.
Take-Two has even sent private investigators to people's houses. Like the fucking mob.
Doesn't sound very private.
So like they would send people to the houses of like these modders and shit because they were like saying, you know, they're gonna get sued and stuff for these mods and the exploits and hacks and shit. And they would send fucking people to the houses of these hackers to threaten them. Take-Two has done that. And now here you are, you hacked them and you stole some very this is probably the biggest game breach in recent gaming history. Where, one of the most anticipated titles that everyone's been begging to fucking finally see, this dude got it.
For like 10 years.
And
I'm sorry, are we boring you?
No.
And this dude got it, and he did it illegally, and he tried extorting them for it, and I'm like, they're gonna kill you.
Yeah.
But yeah, no.
Sounds like game radicalization for them to listen
game
to
So
our conversation.
back to our conversation at the very beginning before we started going live. So we were talking about work culture in the military when it comes to training,
Like
just
shitty leadership.
what was it, the
Just like training commands.
training commands? Yeah. So in the Army it's TRADOC, which is the same as like a training command for the Navy. I've noticed, and it's across the board, because you were saying that the work culture and the training command sucks.
Yeah.
And you don't understand. It's like that everywhere. So TRADOC command is, like you said before, where usually careers start or end.
Yeah. 100%.
You got people that are on their way out. Mostly it's people that are on their way out. This is their last command.
Well, because it really hurts because like a lot of people who are especially new to the military, they go to these training commands and they're run poorly most of the time because.
And for us, it's worse because it's a hospital, and like every corpsman hates being at a hospital.
Yeah, they want to be operational.
So we're at a training command that's also a hospital, that's also a VA. Everybody fucking hates their life.
Oh yeah, by the way, the person who thought that fucking merger would be a good idea, seriously
Fire them immediately.
Like they had.
Are you talking about the Great Lakes VA and the fucking hospital
because you have two computer systems where they're both not gonna budge on what they can.
Yeah, you brought that up before.
What they're involved in, like I don't know who thought that
Somebody that needed a promotion.
So someone needed to be fucking fired. Like
I do know.
because seriously, this has been going on for 12 years, and they still don't have a smooth way of doing fucking anything.
There's only one for a reason.
Like it's insane. But yeah, no, most training commands, it's awful because you have the people who are about ready to get out. So a lot of people just don't give a fuck, and the people who know how to military, how to Navy, are leaving.
In our sense.
You know what I mean? Like they're leaving and they don't care. They don't give a fuck.
That's across the board for the military. Like everybody's fucking leaving. And we even talked about this yesterday about the fucking the Department of the Army when it came to inflation, about how soldiers are having a hard time like keeping up with inflation and like being able to afford groceries, the fucking Department of the Army suggested that soldiers get on fucking food stamps instead of paying them more, which is insanity. Imagine you are you just got back from deployment and your command says get on food stamps if you can't afford groceries.
Well, I mean, it's not any better over here. Apparently,
no, it's not.
The USS Nimitz, you're just drinking diesel. Like, that's seriously like.
And Key West, they can't even house the sailors.
That's wild.
What?
You never saw that story?
No,
This was a few months ago that people were in Key West, and it's so expensive there because it's a vacation spot essentially.
Right.
So everything, like, people sell for houses there and apartments for millions of dollars because it's a retirement area.
Mm-hmm.
So BAH down there it's on the higher end. I think it's over $2,000, but apartments there are almost impossible to find. And the barracks, I think they were condemning them too, so they couldn't put people in the barracks, and they couldn't afford places out in town. They couldn't put them in the barracks, and they were being told in the Navy Lodge or the whatever the hotel was more than what their BAH was, so they couldn't really stay there either. Like, they didn't have a place to house these people. They weren't making enough money.
Where the fuck were they staying?
Exactly. So people were struggling, and I'm pretty sure the issue's still going on. One of my boys is still over there, and he's like, dude, it's pretty bad. Like, usually you have to like try to find a roommate or get with somebody to kind of split something and hope that you're able to get a place, because what they were doing then, because of the barrack situation, they couldn't put them in the Navy. They had to have changed it with the Navy Lodge to where they have to be able to stay there, or that the BAH would cover 100, like how housing, they'll take all of your BAH, but you get to stay there. You just don't get any BAH in return because you don't have any left, quote unquote.
Wasn't the Nimitz involved with the UFO thing?
I don't know, fucking know.
I think it was.
I think it was, yeah.
Maybe they were coming to look and see how bad
It's a
water
carrier,
was.
isn't it?
Yeah, no, I think that was the carrier that they were
like the fucking Commander Fravor, the guy that the videos that we saw for the UFO shit on our Rabbit Hole episode, it was the Nimitz.
Ah,
yeah.
okay.
That's where he would come from.
But yeah, no, fucking the Nimitz has been having issues with their fucking water. People are getting sick, getting rashes. Like,
What is PrevMed doing?
So their water's contaminated.
Yeah, hardcore, and like apparently like
PrevMed is fucking failing.
Right, I know, but like everyone there's getting fucking shit on. But no,
PE valves
so
across
like
the board.
apparently like really high, like upper enlisted and like really high officers are getting like water like shipped into them for them to bathe and drink. And
that is fucking horrible.
And they're telling everybody, no, the water's safe to drink. You can drink it. It's fine.
Which is a lie.
And people are like, it smells like fucking diesel. Like, I wish I don't. I fucking know I don't have it. I already know I don't fucking have it.
What's going on with this Roku?
But like, I saw fucking
reverse osmosis. That's how they like filter the water. That's how you can take seawater and turn it into drinkable, showerable, and everything like that. Potable.
Dude,
reverse osmosis.
I swear, like I know it's not going to come up now that I fucking need
and
it.
It's things like this that are highlighting like what is wrong with the military. Why is nobody joining and why is nobody staying?
Brock, bring up
it's mostly
USS Nimitz water.
Yeah, where's that Jamie when we need one? That's the next step.
I mean, he offered to be the Jamie.
Yeah, I told Brock I'm going to try to be Jamie.
Oh wow, that water contamination. That's like the first fucking thing.
Look, no, just go to images. I'll tell you which one I fucking saw.
What the hell?
That right there, right below.
This one?
No,
this one.
That.
Did you hear a knock?
Somebody at the door. It might be the dog. Don't open it. This is water from the USS Nimitz. What the fuck is this?
That is JP5 and diesel.
In the water?
In the water.
And they just filled this bottle up with water?
Yeah.
They didn't put anything in it. Jet fuel contamination of USS Nimitz potable water supply resolved.
How is jet fuel getting in
It's not resolved.
Yeah, how is jet fuel getting in the water?
Like, could you imagine the amount? Like, the VA is probably tearing their hair out right now. Like,
I like how this says. What
not
is
service
it?
connected.
This is as of 2 days ago. Look at this. 2 days ago, resolved.
It's not.
The USS Nimitz potable water supply was rendered unusable for 3 days due to contamination by jet fuel, with the Navy saying that the contamination has since been removed, which I don't fucking believe them at all.
So
It's going to be the USS Flint, Michigan now.
So,
Oh my God.
So skip that whole fucking paragraph right there that we don't need to see that. That's fucking propaganda. But yeah, no. So like there was like reports though that like people who were higher up were like bringing in water for them to use. And
this is our water, not your water.
And telling people like, oh, well, you know.
Stop kicking the goddamn.
I'm sorry, I saw it again. And
I had a feeling that tripod would be an issue with you being here.
wow.
Navy says USS Nimitz water is safe. No sailor sickened.
Oh,
This is days ago.
no sailors sickened. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
What's the source? I don't believe this.
How much?
I hear this will actually okay.
Are these the same people that says that we surveyed the fleet and nobody?
So
wants
the
beers?
USS Nimitz
Who'd you
drinking
talk
water
to?
contaminated with jet fuel. So Navy has confirmed the aircraft carrier has suffered an issue that led to jet fuel contaminating its drinking water after reports and images appeared on social media.
I hate the way that they abbreviated Lieutenant Commander.
Lieutenant Command, what's wrong with that? That's how it's abbreviated.
No, it's not.
It's not?
No.
No. Lieutenant Commander Adam Demeter, the ship's spokesman, confirmed the statement released Tuesday evening, that's September 16th. The crew identified traces. Traces? Did that bottle look like a trace amount to you?
No.
Traces, identified traces of jet propellants, JP5, used in fuel carrier-based aircraft in the ship's potable water supply while operating off the coast of Southern California. That is it for the article?
I want to hear some testimonials from the PrevMed department. That's what I want to hear. The ones testing the water.
To be honest, PrevMed was probably sitting there like, "Hey guys, we have a fucking problem." Like, "Oh my god," and they're like,
they're
hey,
all
well,
under NDA. No one says a fucking word.
right, probably.
That
Hey,
is-
you don't say anything about this, or we NJP you.
Right? We're gonna get some anonymous reports.
That
like,
shit
don't
is
you dare
that
use my
shit's
name.
so fucking wild too, though. It's like,
Is
like
it though? Are we really
it's
surprised?
no, it's not wild. It's pretty par for the fucking course, unfortunately. But even still, and then the military is asking like, what are we gonna do about retention? We can't get anybody to come in.
Well,
We
it's
can't keep
it's like
anybody
so-
keep
well,
anybody in.
This has been years going on though. Like this is even before my time, but like, you know,
And then the VA does nothing to help you after.
oh, of course not.
Or it takes years, like Camp Lejeune, the people in the 80s that had the water there.
And then even still with
Fuck, when I go up for it, I'm going to tell them, hey, I drank Camp Lejeune water and had to be treated with fucking 3 grams of antibiotics when I came back to fucking Rhode Island to get the fucking my stomach working properly.
and even,
like-
and it's kind of fucked up
Like
because
that happened when I went down for field med.
I wonder if they'll ever do anything about the water in like U.S. bases too, like or U.S. bases overseas. Like so, like in Italy, our
Probably not.
probably not,
'Cause
but
it's
our,
based off of the
our
country.
fucking sink water, like, and we all got bottled water because of the
Yeah.
sink water. But it's like we're using that sink that
Bahrain's the same way. So when I was in Bahrain, they would filter it on base. There was a system where they would filter it enough to where like we could shower with it and everything,
But you
you
can't
still
drink
couldn't.
it.
Yeah, we still couldn't drink it. So we would still get bottles of water for. It was subsidized. So it was only like 25 cents for a bottle.
it wasn't like that for us.
At
This-
least
I think this might have been by the actual country. So Bahrain actually had subsidized water countrywide, and so on base we were also able to get it. Actually, I think it was able to be a little bit cheaper than it was out in town, but we were able to get a bottle of water for like 25 cents.
Well, let's talk about
we
water.
just couldn't drink it.
yeah.
It's it's still fucked up that you have water that you can use for showering, but you can't consume it. It's fucking stupid.
In another country, I'm less upset about it because I'm like,
True. Yeah.
it's less of our fault.
But
It's more of
even
the
but
host
okay,
country's
so
issue.
yeah, overseas is one thing on U.S. soil.
Yeah, it's totally unacceptable.
It's fucking insane.
Well, even on ships, like I'm sorry, like
On ships, it's even
like,
worse.
I understand that, like, hey, you're deployed, things are hard, things are tight. You got to do crack deals to get some things, but like
Water
if
should
you're
not
telling
be
me- if
one
you're
of them.
Like, well, it's even like the thing in like fucking Key West. If you're gonna be a military organization, you need to be able to feed, house, and clothe everybody that is in your fucking organization. That includes water, living, and actual like usable clothes. Like it's bullshit if you don't do any of those 3 things, or if you don't pay them enough to where they can do those things.
Well, there was even that.
Complete-
Do
Yeah, just
you
get food
remember?
stamps.
Do you remember fucking?
Just get food stamps.
Do you remember fucking Angry Cops? His whole video about the the housing
The
place,
housing,
the
yeah.
housing that they were like actually not doing any repairs on anything, and they
Yeah.
were just
Like
putting it up.
billions of dollars scammed out of the
Literally,
government.
they scam so much, and they're still under contract of the government after scamming them from so much money of repairs they weren't actually doing, but putting in that they were.
Because it's on every spectrum. So it's on the command spectrum for not doing like specific inspections. It's on the contractor for also not doing them, but the command should also be inspecting it. But if they tell the command's like, this was done, and then it just goes under the rug from there. It's literally like multifaceted because it's a fuck up on every angle of it.
Yeah.
And they know that, so they're able to just go through it, and like tickets would be marked. This was done, was never fucking done. And then you got to go through like the whole rigmarole of say you're on customer service and they're like, oh, this was done. No, it wasn't. Oh, well, we got to put in a new ticket.
Even because it says, well, on our end, they'll say on our end, it says it is done. And it's like on the fucking actual end of the problem, it's not.
I'm
but
staring
okay.
at the problem right now.
It's ridiculous that we even have to go through this shit. It like, I don't know. And is this going back to the retention numbers and recruiting numbers? No wonder why people aren't joining and people are leaving. Like you can't. Well, how do you honestly like the military expects people to just accept things for the way they are?
Embrace the suck.
Embrace the suck. It's like the whole the mantra of everything. Fucking embrace the suck. Everything sucks, and you signed up for this. You knew what you were getting into. It's like I knew what I was getting into about potentially going to combat, not the fact that you weren't going to help take care of me.
Yeah,
Like-
there's an extent to it to where
And then not pay me for, let's say, if you're not going to do anything, you're not going to pay me enough to fucking handle it myself as an adult. That was the same issue when I was in Italy when we ran out of fucking food. We ran out of food in our DFAC, and our DFAC would get shut down very often. And our DFAC actually got shut down because of a fucking roach problem. So we didn't have a DFAC for a while. And then it opened back up, and then they ran out of fucking food. So they were giving us hot A's, which are like field meals. Now these mermites, where they would just open up these hot meals and like powdered fucking eggs and shit that they would give you on deployments or in the field.
it's just MREs for a larger
Yeah,
quantity
for
of
more
people.
people, and then that ran out, so they just started giving us 3 MREs a day. And we're like, can you just pay us more so that can you put in to get us like more pay so that we can go to the grocery store? And they said no.
Well, I wonder why, because you're going to use up all these other resources too that you're eventually going to have to replenish. You're still spending the money.
That's
Yeah.
way cheaper though.
No, it's not, because then if you have to feed people for X amount of time, you're still going to have to replenish those resources that you're now burning up
Well, yeah,
for
but
that time.
MREs are still cheaper to feed the troops.
Well, they were really big on us going to the chow hall and signing in, even though there was no food. So they would want us to sign in and leave, because that's how they got money to get more food, because based off how many people were actually going to the chow hall. So they would march us at an active duty unit. I remember like very vividly how pissed off we were that we were going to march to the fucking chow hall because Sergeant Major made us, and we were all just fucking gaggle fucking around in these formations as we were marching, because we're just like, we hated it. We hated that we were being forced to do this instead of any real fucking action being done to get us fucking food. So they wanted us to go 3 times a day, to march to the chow hall, sign in and leave, because they didn't have anything to give us. I remember one day I went out for breakfast. I got an omelet. That was it. And it was like a small omelet, probably like that big, and a piece of toast. That was my fucking breakfast. And they were shut down for lunch, and I wasn't going to get anything else till dinner. And I'm like, that was
sleep for dinner and depression.
and like, it's like, that's what you get, dude. And we were like, this is bullshit. Like, prison gets more food than this.
Yeah.
I think food is a loose term, but yeah.
Food is a loose term, but they like still prisoners get more fucking food than what we were getting,
And they get the same quality.
and they get the same quality.
There used to be actually, if you've ever seen the boxes of MREs, it says for military and prisoners only.
Not the MREs. That's the food that's used in the chow hall for mass feeding people.
It
It's
actually says that
for
on
military and prison. I was actually gonna get into that, like the eggs, the big fucking thing of eggs that are just blended up eggs. I don't know how the fuck they made it, but it says on this giant bag that's filled with yellow
Water.
egg stuff, it says
Yellow
for
egg
military and prison use only.
We're grouped in with them.
We're
Yeah.
grouped in with prisoners.
Oh, I know. Like, It's the same fucking thing. Like,
And people are like, why didn't you stay in for the full 20?
well, it's like, well,
I don't know.
Well, like I told everybody, it's like, I mean, I already have my plans set out. Like,
I heard that on the microphone.
Good.
that was horrible.
I'm glad.
But it's like I'm gonna do this like one last reenlistment. Like I'm just gonna do the 5 years, get my SRB,
Get your schooling done, and then leave.
Get the star, and as soon as I have all my classes done for my nursing degree, I'm piecing the fuck out. Like,
No, I don't blame you.
like I'm done. And like it was funny because like my dad even asked, he's like, oh well, you're gonna be you'll be like 10 years in at that point. Like,
Why not stay for all of it?
Stay for all of it. I was like, because one, no. I was like,
I think it also depends.
it here.
if you want me to have cancer by the time I'm 45, then
It could also, by that time though, it could depend on where you currently are and like what the incentives are afterwards. So like if there's another SRB in your current command is not shit.
The first year that I was in fucking the Navy, I had asbestos exposure like every day.
Was it documented?
Can you imagine like how
it's
good?
still there. I can take you there if you want. Like,
Can you imagine how good retention and recruiting would be if every branch treated everyone like the Air Force does?
I mean, we can't.
The
afford
Coast Guard
that.
doesn't have issues either.
Coast Guard, because they don't ever really. I mean, they're only there for when they're needed.
Apparently,
Unless
like,
it's something required, but even after that, when they're done with that requirement, they go home. Everybody else, every other fucking branch, especially the Army. I don't know about the Navy, probably the Navy, but
It depends where you're at.
it really does depend where you're at. But like in the Army, it's like they are all about keeping you until the guy at the top says go home, which is very often not until 7 p.m. And you have nothing to do from 1500. We would get done with everything by 1500, and then we were waiting to fucking leave because First Sergeant of the CO couldn't agree on letting us all leave early. Oh, I got things we got to pass down, but that won't be until 1900. It's like, why?
yeah, they said half a day. Half a day is 12 hours.
Yeah, half day is 12. Is fucking 12 hours. But it's like you get your PT done, your duty day's done, all your training's done, all the other admin shit you had to get done is done. And that was the biggest thing of why I got out, is because so much time was fucking wasted throughout the day.
Oh yeah.
And trying to find something to do to fill in that empty time.
And the shitty part is it's not even like we're being paid hourly. Like you get a salary.
That's how they get away with it, though.
Yeah,
too.
I know, but like still, it's like, but that's the issue though. Is that
the duty day goes until it's done. Like, well, it's fucking done. I don't know what else you want us to do today.
well, like I mean, like we've even tried to like give them suggestions. Like RHM1, God damn bless his heart. The first thing he came in, he's like, "Hey, so what time do y'all muster?" We said 6:15. He said, "Why?" He said, "Your techs and doctors don't get there till 7:30, and you can't even see patients at that point. So why are we?"
So you're there early, just waiting.
Yeah,
Sort of.
no.
We kind of start getting the patients, like their paperwork set up. And
No.
everything.
Right now we don't allow patients in the door till 6:45.
Oh,
like-
so let's push back even more.
Yeah, and granted, I mean, to be fair, like I mean, are you really saving that much time throughout the entire day? Not really.
Probably not.
So it's just the idea. It's like, yeah, like we honestly have us come in at fucking 6:45, 7:00, because what's the point of coming in earlier? Like you literally can't see people. Oh well, what if someone's suicidal? Then that means they're gonna be suicidal before they got there, and they need to go to the fucking ER.
Yeah.
Like, congratulations, I've solved your problem.
You being
like-
there is not going to change.
That's a rational thought, and that
like-
they don't believe in that. There.
Exactly, they
Sure,
don't believe
facts.
in that.
Sure.
But like, no, it's just in general with the training commands, it's awful because the leadership usually sucks, right? Not everybody, obviously. Like we have some good people. I just sung the praises of an HM1, which don't get used to that. But
I'm an HM too.
I didn't say you.
Well, you looked at me though.
And
Go on.
See, this is what future HM1s look like, and sometimes they're just dumb.
How dare you? You know I was a damn good LPO.
But so overall though, like the leadership's bad, and the people who are new to the Navy who are coming in, they don't.
That's their first exposure.
Yeah,
it's their first impression.
Well, also too, you don't know what you can do to combat a lot of these things.
That's why Great Lakes has a terrible retention rate
Like it's because
for people to re-enlist to go somewhere else
and
out
it's
of
so
that.
it's so it's so bad, and it's even at the low level to the high level. Like people who are getting out just don't give a fuck, and they're so embittered by their experience. Like we had a guy who would go around and check the fire extinguishers, right? Cool. He got out of the Navy, said, fuck y'all, didn't pass it down to nobody. And so like, admittedly, this is not Chief's fault, but like Chief was like, kind of grumbling, and he's a pretty cool dude right now. So like, I have nothing against him, but like, our Chief is going around like checking the fucking fire extinguishers. I was like, Chief, what the hell are you doing? Like, going around with a clipboard, but usually if they come around with a clipboard, it's usually because they're like getting something from people or doing something else, right? And I was like, Chief, what are you doing? He's like, oh, I'm checking the fire extinguishers. Apparently the guy who was doing it before just fucking left and has been gone for a few months. And, you know, I was like, oh, like, is there any way you can get a hold of him? He's like, no, he's a civilian. Like, if
He got out.
If he doesn't want to talk to me, he can tell me to go fuck myself. Like, I have to do this because we're behind on our inspections now. And I was like, that's kind of shitty.
I mean, by UCMJ standards, because of something that happened when he was in the military, he could technically still get in trouble. But I digress.
I mean, I don't think they're going to pursue.
No, they're not going to.
But like,
that's too much of a waste of time and resources.
But like, you know, it's just the idea though, is just that like, you know, so now we have this chief. Admittedly, this chief should not be going around checking fire extinguishers. I hate the idea of like, I'm too good to do something. But like when you see something that is like, clearly this could have been handled better, it is shitty to see anyone doing it. Like, I have to do it because the person who didn't do it, who was doing it before, fucked up. Like, you know.
But speaks for him though.
What?
For him doing it.
Oh yeah, no, I actually
Him just taking the initiative to do it himself when he shouldn't be.
Well, oh no, and I agree. Like it was nice to see him like, hey, I needed something done. I didn't pass it down to somebody else just to be like an asshole or I'm too good for this. You know, I put in my time. He's just like, fuck it, I'm just gonna get it done, and then we'll get someone else to do it next time.
Yeah,
like cool. And I was like, that's awesome, but like, that's why these commands are usually fucking hot messes. Is because people are so pissed off because they're either brand new and they say, fuck it, I'm getting out. And especially too, like, you know, could you imagine how awful it is too? Like, I came in as a quad zero. So when I was in Rhode Island, I was there for 2 years.
General Foreman. Just course cool, that's it.
Oh yeah. Good call there. I was like, what? So I was there for 2 years. 2 years is a long time. Yeah. But like, it goes by pretty quick, especially when, you know, like the next command is already pretty close, you know, in terms of your time of waiting. So if you're dealing with bullshit, you're like, fuck, I'm almost done here anyway, whatever. But if you're a technician of usually any kind, you're usually going to be there for 4 years. Sometimes if you're
sure for us, yeah.
Sometimes if you're unlucky, it's 5.
If it's your first contract, yeah.
You know what I mean? So like, there's a lot of people who, you know, who come into the Navy. Their very first command is right back at Great Lakes, which is where no one wants to be at. Almost everybody looks at traveling around as one of the positives that the Navy has.
Just not to Great Lakes.
And well, I mean, you already traveled there. You were there for boot camp. You don't want to go back.
Well, you want to travel away from Great Lakes.
Right.
That's like going. That's like going to like Fort Benning for basic training and OSUT, and then being stationed at Fort Benning.
Yeah, like unless you're an RDC or an instructor specifically, like you chose to do that, nobody wants to be here.
It's the same with any TRADOC base. Like Fort Sill, I guess is. I mean, Lawton sucks, but Fort Sill makes sense because like that's where that's where the majority of our artillery shit is. So it makes sense. They have like the biggest impact area in the U.S. Army on stateside. So it's like, that makes sense because there are more assets there for you to use. But no one wants to fucking stay on Fort Sill.
Right.
So some of the things that the Navy's doing is they changed like the leadership course. Like, you know how PO-NDOC, it's not PO-NDOC anymore. It's like leadership development at each level. So there's intermediate, there's advanced, and then I can't remember what the third class one is for. So the E5 one is intermediate, and I had to go to it because it wasn't in my NSIPs. So it's actually a really good course.
Right.
When the people take it seriously. So like when the instructors take it seriously.
Well, the part about that sucks though is that like, you know, I actually agree for once with the Marines. Like they instill a sense of responsibility because right now I'm going to be completely honest. Like being an HM3, you know, you're a glorified HN. Like that's all you are. You're an HN who has $50 extra per paycheck.
Only 50. Wow.
Yeah. Well, that's generally what it is as far as I know. But like, you know, that's the only difference. But like in the Marine Corps though, like you get responsibility every step of the way. They're like, you are forming people to lead even when they're PFCs, even when they're corporals. You know what I mean? Because like, I'm not gonna lie, a corporal in the Marine Corps actually does stuff. Like they're actually in charge of shit. They tell people what to do. And not just like, oh, I'm just barking orders to be an asshole, but it's because they're actually in charge of things.
That's why third classes that are green side and then they go hospital side fucking hate it.
Yeah, and they get driven insane because when they were green side, they were in charge of stuff. Or even if they weren't in charge of like a lot of stuff, everything to do with like taking care of your Marines, you were in charge of. Yeah,
they weren't treated like a child.
Right, that was just you, and people even above you sometimes, depending on who you have, valued your opinion. Hey, no, I'm telling you, do not have this Marine do this because he's going to break his fucking leg because he already has a stress fracture. respectfully fight me. Like you could make cases and things made sense because people were like, I haven't studied medicine. Maybe you're right. Okay, cool. Right. But like,
oh, you're only need 4. Fuck do you know?
You know what I mean? But like, on a training command side, like, oh, hey, congratulations, Nelson. You're probably going to be picking up, third class here. I'm like, yeah, but that's not going to change anything. Like, you know what I mean? So, and that makes a huge impact because now even being a third class, it's like, what extra responsibilities are you taking on? I don't know a single job right now, at least in terms of Navy experience, that I could do as a third class that I couldn't do as an HN.
At hospital, it's not much.
You know what I mean? Because like they tried to do that shit with fucking my BLS instructor. Like I'm a BLS instructor, and they tried to say, oh well, we only want third classes to do it. Guess what? I talked to one fucking person. They said, yeah, you've already done it before. Cool, come on, do it. You know what I mean? Like I don't know what. There is almost no difference. Sure, there's a superficial difference, and technically you do have rank on me, but it doesn't mean anything. And unfortunately, since you don't develop any type of responsibility as an HN or as an HA or like E2 or E3, like the differences between a third class and a HN are virtually almost undistinguishable. Sure, your uniform looks a little different because of your identification, but that's it.
I think for y'all, it's like the difference between what's an E3 for you guys? Specialist?
E3 is a PFC.
So a PFC and a specialist.
It's a big difference.
Well, sort of, but unless they're in that corporal billet.
So corporal's a funny rank in the Army. So
so
corporal is still an E4.
Yeah, I know.
I disagree with that so much.
What, the way that we do our corporals?
No, the fact that specialist is a thing is fucking stupid.
I think they were doing something in the Army where they were getting rid of I think they were getting rid of specialist. They're getting rid of corporal.
Why?
So, or they were making it to where.
Do you know why specialist is even a thing?
I don't remember.
It's from World War II when they people who were entrusted with rank but were dumb enough to not be leaders or not able to be leaders. You know what I mean? Like their personality didn't fit being a leader, so they could still rank up. That's the only reason.
So
why
the
it's
corporal rank is strange because the way that they do corporals is basically you are an E4 with NCO responsibility, but they don't want to pay you as one.
That is awful.
So that's why
what I mean.
That's what the corporal thing. It's a lateral promotion to corporal. If they think that you're NCO material, or if they think you're NCO material, they'll just put you in for the promotion board, which is what we were talking about this yesterday. The promotion for the Army is very different than how it is in the Navy. It's basically off your job and how many points are allotted to you and how many points you've earned based off of your PT, like your performance and the schools that you've done and your time in that rank.
I can tell you this right now: our PT scores do not matter literally at all.
Ours do. Ours do. And
that bothers me.
But so like for the promotion, it's basically like going in front of a board where it's like the sergeant major, the battalion commander.
Like I said, I would appreciate that, but like right now, like I'm literally an E3 who's having E4s and E5s ask me how to be a fucking leader.
Yeah,
and that is mind-bogglingly infuriating.
The way the Navy does it is they hand you the rank based off of the availability.
Somewhat, like obviously I understand that I'm a little biased because being a behavioral health technician, there is a lot of people who you pick up third class, you know what I mean, and then a year later you're automatically second class. There's not a lot of people, and I'm going to be honest, and I'm not even sure that I'm one of those people. But there's not a lot of people who, are ready for the responsibility of being a second class because they don't know how to be a leader. It's not super hard, but it's the idea, especially at that level. Oh, hey, you need to tell people what to do. You need to know when to be a dick, and you need to know that they don't have to like you. Don't be an asshole for no reason, but they don't have to like you, and they don't have to like what you have to say.
Yeah. So I noticed that at this leadership course, because I had the most time in service of everybody except for one person.
We get it, you're old.
I know. But just
I'm the oldest. I'm older than all.
But in our job, I have the most time in service. I was the only one person, and he was an LS. I don't know what the fuck he was doing with his career. That had more time in service than me, and so everyone else had like 6, 7. I think 8 years was like the other top one, other than me and the logistics guy. And it was you could 100% see because they had all picked up rank so quickly. They were definitely still learning, and a lot of even the situations that were brought up, and it's a good reasons why the course is there because it's leadership development. But they had truly no idea because they hadn't been in those positions for very long, so they hadn't had the practice, and they didn't truly know what to do.
Well, you also have to understand too that a lot of their civilian experience, like I know that civilian experience isn't the same as military experience.
Or if they have civilian experience.
But the problem with exactly, but it's like, a lot of people were never put in positions where like, yeah, you need to be able to tell people what to do. You need to be able to do that. I had a lot of that growing up. Kind of like pseudo leadership positions, either in sports or in jobs or, in other things. And I have that experience before the Navy of being in a job and of having to tell people what to do sometimes and having to be the bad guy, but also, balancing that with like, hey, yes, you're in charge, but like, that doesn't mean be a dick. That doesn't mean, go on a power trip, that means, setting a standard, things like that. Like a lot of these people, they don't fucking know that. And it's infuriating being in E3, cause I had to tell like my HM1, he was like, oh, well, we got to work on things like optics and stuff like that. And I told him, I was like, personally, I was like, your optics, you have to understand that your optics are going to be fucked up being a leader in any position. You have no idea what's going on until you talk to everybody, and that's just how it is. Cause I also had to tell him at one point too, because we had conversations about people in leadership and other things like that regarding where I work. And I was like, personally, I don't give a fuck what these people think of me. I worked in an environment that did not care if I was successful for a long time. And you think I care what they think? I was like, I'll do my job. I'll even try to do better and learn and grow, but I'm not doing it for people's opinions. You know what I mean? And I was like, and that's kind of the problem though, is that, true leadership isn't really worried about like opinions. You're worried about, setting a standard and doing that. And if you're doing your leadership stuff correctly, you're not going to have to worry about things like, oh, what does this person think of me? Right. Because if you're running things well, people are going to tend to at least like you or respect you as a leader anyway. You know what I mean? Like, that's just how it is.
Yeah.
It's like holding a standard. It's like
constantly shits, then they're not doing it right.
Yeah, it's like, hey, it's like we had Eldridge here, he had to write his own counseling shit, even though he could have very easily just been like, I'm
in charge.
You know what I mean? Seriously, like he really could have done that. But after he was gone, we didn't have people setting standards. There were favors and backdoor deals. And I'm like, it's really shitty seeing things that I should be doing. I should be doing backdoor crack deals and shit, being lower enlisted, being part of the HN underground. I should be the one going behind doors and doing sketchy shit. You know what I mean? Like,
was that like the E4 Mafia?
Essentially, yeah.
So we are the suppliers to the E4 Mafia. So if a third class comes to me and is like, hey, I need something,
or like the Lance Corporal Underground.
You know what I mean? I'm gonna be.
I heard that one before.
The HNs are gonna be the ones who kind of go out and like, steal shit and illegally get things or acquire stuff that you need.
It's like the E3 Underground and the
tell
E3
you what,
Underground
though,
and E4 Mafia.
being a specialist is a very fun rank because they don't call it a sham shield for nothing.
I never heard sham until I watched Angry Cops.
So shamming is like getting out of shit. Skating out of shit. So like fucking the specialist rank looks like a shield, and they call it a sham shield.
It's funny
because it's like fucking my shield that protects me from bullshit. I'm just gonna go. I got a dental appointment or some stupid shit, things that people can't prove, and then you just go fuck off somewhere. I do that shit so much. They could prove it if they really tried, but like. Often what I used to do when I was shamming, I would I act because I was in physical therapy a lot. So I really did have appointments.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't do anything before or after them. And there was one time I was switching companies. One of my company, like the company I was leaving, they were going to Latvia, and the company I was going to went to Ukraine. And mine was not leaving yet. The one I was going to had already left. But because I was leaving this one, they were leaving about 3 days after I was switching companies. So nobody was tracking me for like 2 months. So I literally went in, did all my admin paperwork to get me in. There was nobody really behind on rear detachment.
Oh yeah, no rear Ds.
No rear Ds. There was no rear Ds up my ass.
No, there was probably some rear Ds.
So I told the guy that because my buddy was like the admin guy in the company.
Yeah.
I said, if they ever ask for me, tell them I'm in physical therapy and then call me.
See, he's the one that's like going to the appointment in the morning and just not coming back.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah,
we had so much of that lately.
So I would go to my appointment. And I would never come back, and I'd be playing fucking video games or sleeping in.
It was so sketchy because, at least in my department, because like we have so many people who are like just getting out, And like you said, when you're getting out of the Navy, yes, you're going to have a lot of appointments. Yes, you're going to have things that you have to go to, like legitimately.
You also don't give a fuck.
But there's also a lot of the whole like, oh, hey, I get out in like 2 months or a month or 3 months or
They
whatever.
tried putting me on a jump the week before I got out.
I thought you liked doing that.
I did like doing that, but at the same time, I'm like, I literally just fucking
That could have been more percentage.
like I just got out. My jump log was closed.
Well, it could have reopened.
No, that's the problem. I had already gone through the medical process, and I was cleared medically, so I wouldn't. If anything were to have happened to me, my medical stuff was already pulled out of the unit. So like I would have not been covered.
No,
I would have
you'd have been covered.
I would have been covered, yeah, but then I would have had to like resubmit my
Yeah, it'd have been a
fucking.
pain in the ass.
It would have been a massive pain in the ass, and it would have slowed me down from leaving. So I was like,
Was this when you were still active, or
yeah, I was still active.
Okay.
But I told him, I'm like, you want to really open my jump log?
Did you have a break in service before you went to the National Guard, or did you go
Yeah,
straight in?
yeah.
Okay.
I was like just under a year, but like I told him, I was like, you do understand that like you're gonna have to open my jump log, and if anything were to happen to me on this jump, it's gonna be an administrative nightmare to get me because I'm already cleared. I was finishing my clearing process of getting out of the Army.
Yeah.
And this would have opened up a whole bunch of bullshit and slowed that down exponentially.
Right,
So
right.
did you do the jump?
No, fuck no.
I just
And
wanted to
because he was
curious.
like, what, you don't want to do your last jump? And I'm like, I would love to do my last jump had you have asked me before I did this process.
Right.
But I was just like, no,
And it wasn't even a special jump either.
it wasn't.
Like,
It wasn't a special jump. It was like,
wasn't like a Normandy jump or anything.
no, fuck no, it wasn't a Normandy jump. This jump, I want to say this jump was in fucking Germany for starters. And I'm like, so you want to bus me to Aviano Air Base, put me on the plane, jump me in fucking Grafenwehr, Germany, and then bus me back?
Weren't you in Germany for a while?
I was only in Germany for training. I was never stationed
you're in
there.
Italy. That's right.
I was stationed in Italy. So I'm like, you want to
Oh,
really
that's where he took steroids.
and then find the transit.
Allegedly.
Yeah, no, there's no alleged. I did. And then you want to give me a fucking you want to find me a Govee to drive me back to fucking Italy so I can finish my clearing. I'm like, on top of that, I have all these other appointments that I still have to do,
right.
and I can't do that. And they were just giving me so much shit, like you're a pussy and stuff. I'm like, no, I'm making life easier for everybody here. Yeah, my pussy's just pulsating. Speaking of pulsating pussies,
I bet you were gonna show it on Twitch too.
I will show it on Twitch. Speaking of because I know I can get away with it.
Yeah, but he'll get permabanned.
I will get permabanned. I mean, maybe not. I could say I'm a they them and
Hashtag
fucking.
segue.
I'm a they them and like you're. What
We'll
do you?
just pause recording and it just comes back to Brock's gaping
Because you're a fucking burly man. Like, did you just assume my gender on my fucking Twitch stream?
That'd be hilarious because there wouldn't be a break in the recording. It would just be us and then asshole.
Yeah, facts. All right, so let's actually dive into these topics because we went on this rant for a while.
That's what happens when all three of us are.
I know.
You need to come back when we can actually do like a proper rabbit hole
Like
episode.
that would be awesome.
I would love
That
to
would
have
be
I
one
know.
of
you
my
here for
favorite
that.
I know.
episodes.
Oh, the rabbit hole?
I love the episode of the rabbit hole. Yeah.
Unfortunately, there's just so much shit that we that happened. Well, not unfortunately, but there was a lot of news that happened.
There's all this goddamn news getting
all
in
this
the way.
fucking news. You know the thing that I made this podcast
No,
for?
the purpose of the podcast.
All right, so Twitch removes its best paying revenue split for streamers.
You know, he can put me digitally on with you guys. He just doesn't.
It is a bit of pain in the ass. I mean, the only person that would see you is me.
That's fine. He would hear me
So what, you just be here in spirit?
and voice.
If you pay for a cardboard cutout, we'll keep putting you on.
That's
Fucking bet.
that's actually a good. We'll get we'll put a cardboard cutout of you right here, and then when you're whenever it's your time to talk,
Don't fucking tempt me.
We'll put the camera.
we'll put the
on you.
camera on the cardboard where it's just you like.
No, but it needs to be like your fucking like Silky's like a really gay picture of it.
yeah,
Like
that's how it
from
would
like the
have to
hike,
be.
it has to be.
All right. Anyway, so Twitch is removing its best paying 70-30 revenue split for most of its streamers as it commits to standardizing its 50-50 split, which, by the way, Twitch is the only one with the lowest fucking revenue split of everyone.
Yeah, they even 70-30. Well, technically a 70-30. YouTube is still one of the top highest ones, but
70-30 is standard for everybody that's because like there's no affiliate program for YouTube. It's straight partnership.
No, I know, but like outside of YouTube, most other platforms will only take like 12%.
Yeah, I know. And also, YouTube announced that you can monetize your fucking shorts.
Yeah, which is huge. I'm surprised you didn't have that on here.
I mean, I'm gonna touch on it through all the issues. I'm sure it's in one of these
YouTube's
articles.
just slowly pressing on the throat of Twitch over
That's
here.
what they are doing. So, announced in a blog post from Twitch president Dan Clancy, the streaming platform denied a 2020 petition that now has 22,000 votes. So, most of the people that are fucking asking for this, he straight up said, "We're not doing that." This has 22,000 votes to provide all of its streamers with at least a 70% of subscription revenue. While the 50-50 split is the most common revenue agreement, Twitch has been offering what it called premium deals to some of its top streamers that granted the more profitable 70-30 split instead.
We're on Article 1.
Shut up.
This is going to take a while.
So these premium deals are no longer being offered, and those on them, currently streamers with bigger audiences generally, will see their revenue reduced in the future too. So the guys that are already on the 70-30 split are going to see it drop to 50-50 in 2023.
Yeah. And
So
it's only to the first 100K anyway.
So now let's say you have these partners that do have a significant viewership that are now going to fall into this category.
Yeah.
And there's even some that I think have even tweeted out about this, saying that this is going to be financially struggling for them because they have to pay other people.
So Devin Nash did a full breakdown of this, and he calculated that after the 100K, it's calculated for a large stream, a good portion of large streamers, it's still like a 79% loss.
It's a fat loss, dude. That's 79% is massive.
Yeah. Like that's how much of a loss that it is.
So I think we can all agree, just fuck Twitch. We'll just everyone leave Twitch. Let it
kind of been happening.
Let it die.
I mean, I've only got 3 viewers anyway.
So this is the quote. In an ideal world, all streamers would be on the same set of terms regardless of size. However, instituting that policy would have a negative impact on the streamers currently on these terms.
Significantly.
So they won't go back to a strict 50-50 deal with these new rules come into place on June 1st. However, the stream will still be on a 70-30 split until the $100,000 is earned through subscription revenue, and then afterwards be reduced to 50-50. So the first $100,000 will be a 70-30, but after it's going to get lowered.
So what I want to know is, because it doesn't talk about it, does that mean that it's the first 100K and then that 100K is split, or is it the first 100K that the person actually gets?
And is that like
after
per
the split
account?
You know what I mean?
I don't know.
So are they saying once, because is it like a subscription is $5. So are they saying up to that subscription cost of $5, where then it's basically
what I'm getting off of this is saying that it's going to be a 70-30 split up to $100,000, and if you end up making more than that, then it's going to go 50-50.
But what I'm saying is it the cost of what the subscription is of the 100K, or what the content creator is actually getting?
Probably what probably the cost of the subscription,
like the payout.
The payout, yeah.
Okay, because if it's the payout, that's not as bad as what I'm thinking of, where because it costs $5. If it's up to 1,000,
maybe it is. Maybe it is up to 100K, not including the subs. I don't know.
Because then that would split the 100K to 50K.
So let's actually look at this.
A little bit more than that. It'd be like 75K, but.
So an ideal world, we just read that. Let's see. So Clancy said, however, instituting the policy would have a negative impact on streamers currently on these terms, many of whom were instrumental in helping us build the Twitch that we know today, which sucks. These streamers have come to depend on the additional revenue split and maintain their standard of living. Clancy said Twitch would not be switching to the 70-30 split because of the amount of money it invests in the products and services that lead to a streamer growth. Things like Prime subs, community gifting, hype train, and ads instead of program.
Which is ass.
It is really ass. So Epic Point Crow says, the fact Twitch's solution to monetary problems is to cut creator pay rather than facilitate a better platform so more viewers visiting the live streaming site is incredibly worrying. Give us the tools plus info we need so we can make more engaging content. Don't soft cap our earnings.
You got to think, that makes making partner completely fucking pointless.
It does. All it is a check mark at that point.
Yeah.
Your incentives are the same if you're an affiliate, so there is no reason to grind for partner. And Twitch expects you to grind for partner. And they even said it in the statement, which I'm going to read.
It's worse, too.
It wants you to put like 200 hours a month in to like even like become profitable.
But then we're gonna like cap your fucking earnings,
And then
so
it-
you can't afford to do that anyway.
And it's like you want to like that is so damaging to the streamer to like expect them to do a 200 hours plus a month.
The reasoning before that is because Twitch doesn't get ads unless they're live, because they don't have ads on VODs.
And the ads is another problem because the ads, honestly, 70% or more of the viewers that watch the streamer, if they're met with these ads, which Twitch has a lot of fucking ads and they're long, unskippable 30-second fucking ads back to back. I've had 3 back to back, and I just tuned out of the stream. And that's what happens. Like, you get a viewer that comes in and is met with a shit ton of ads in the beginning, you're killing your viewer base.
Yeah.
So smaller streamers already can't fucking grow. Not to mention the discoverability sucks.
And like because they don't have it on the VODs. Like on YouTube, even if someone streams on YouTube, there's going to be ads on the VOD.
Right. So there's a way for an avenue. There's a revenue stream from ads even when you're not live.
Yeah.
So the cost of running Twitch was also cited, with Clancy saying that delivering high definition, low latency, which by the way, Twitch has the worst of compared to YouTube.
Oh, yeah,
YouTube has 8K capability. Twitch only has 1080p.
And Twitch throttles you.
And Twitch does throttle you, yes. Always available live video to nearly every corner of the world is expensive. Amazon's self-prescribed cost of streaming is also pricey, Clancy said. The cost of a streamer with 100 connected users streaming for 200 hours a month can cost more than $1,000 a month. Despite Twitch saying that it made decisions with streamers in mind, as streamers are and always will be the foundation of our global community, some people who use the platform have spoken out against the decision.
We love the community, but fuck the community.
We love the community, but fuck you at the same time. The fact Twitch's solution to monetary problems... Oh, that was read in that tweet. So Twitch has been in the news a lot the past couple of days, first for banning gambling streams on the platform, and also for reports of child predators using the platform.
Oh, and the second part was they dropped the tweet about this at 3 a.m.
Oh, dude, yeah. And then like the creators that they emailed them at like 5 o'clock in the morning about this, and with a no reply email saying that like you fall into this.
Oh yeah, they tried to brush it under like
they tried to do it super late at night when nobody was gonna really see it and expect no one to fucking really notice it. And it was like, wow, you guys really don't care.
Like a major company dropping something at 3 a.m. What the fuck are you doing?
So as a result of this, the Twitch content chief leaves following the revenue split controversy. Senior Vice President of Global Creators Constance Knight is leaving for a new adventure.
Fuck this, I'm out.
Fuck this shit, I'm out. So it has been revealed that Twitch's Senior Vice President of Global Creators, Constance Knight, reportedly handed in her resignation on the same day that the company announced controversial changes to the platform's revenue split. So the day they said that, she's like, I'm done.
I think her name is actually pretty badass. It's completely unrelated.
Constance Knight.
Yeah, that's pretty sick.
In a new report by Bloomberg, it is alleged that Knight sent out a letter to employees that stated she was embarking on a new adventure and that will provide her with growth and opportunities for a professional career and personal life.
So Jason Schreier.
It's also reported that Knight's new role will be involved in the creator space in some capacity, although doesn't reveal just yet what her new job will be.
Bet she's going to YouTube.
So it's unknown whether
That'd be funny.
So it's unknown whether Twitch's recent revenue split changes what forced Knight's hand, but the timing of her resignation implies as such. Twitch announced earlier this week that its top content creators will have their revenue split lowered.
It's insane. So if there's legitimately negativity to become a partner now, because then that means that you're exclusive to Twitch.
Well, yeah, and there's no more incentive to do so.
Exactly. That's why, like, it's a negative thing to become.
So
a partner
do
now.
more and do more and get the same regardless. Like you have more incentive. Like in the first, I guess it's more incentive for the first 100,000. But if you are successful, like you're going to get hurt for being more successful.
No. It's only for the first 100,000 for people that already have it.
Yes. So for new partners, this doesn't count for you.
So it's gone. The pipe dream is no
so
longer.
Something that won't affect the vast majority of Twitch streamers, but will undoubtedly have their biggest talents looking to other platforms with more favorable terms.
Wonder which one.
Can't imagine. I think it's Shmoosh. So that's not even the worst of Twitch's recent controversies either. A different report recently found that almost 2,000 users on the site display unusual patterns of behavior, which has led researchers to believe that the platform has a massive problem with child predators.
Interesting.
I haven't heard this one. This is new.
This is new.
Yeah.
These accounts have allegedly been set up with the sole purpose of manipulating and grooming young children, and the two-year study has suggested that 279,016 children have been targeted in some form.
Interesting.
And just when you thought it couldn't get much worse, just a single day after this report was published, Republican Congressman Matt Gaetz decided it would be a good time to announce the start of his Twitch career.
Oh, God.
Why does that have to be worse? The congressman is currently under investigation for alleged involvement in sex trafficking and has also been accused of having a relationship with a 17-year-old. Gaetz has denied these accusations. I mean, naturally you're going to. But he's still not exactly the kind of person you'd want in your corner when you have a problem with the child predators on your platform.
Man, this article took a turn.
This really did. I'm kind of curious now. Let's open that one. So Twitch could have a huge child... Oh, this was 4 days ago. Twitch could have a huge child predator problem, according to new research. So some Twitch users could be systematically targeting children.
I mean, it doesn't shock me. Because you only have to be 13 to be on the platform.
Twitch could have a big problem with child predators who are allegedly targeting minors through its live streaming service, with these predators systematically finding and following young people, according to new research. The analysis discovered 1,976 Twitch users that showed unusual patterns of behavior that indicated that many of them might exist primarily catalog. Fuck!
Here we go.
Watch and they use it to catalog, watch, and manipulate children, according to research evidence that is reviewed by Bloomberg.
It's okay, just sound it out, bro.
That's what the Army does to you.
It's gonna be okay.
So the study was carried out from October of 2020 to August of 2022. And over this nearly 2-year duration, the researcher identified that alleged predators targeted over 200,000 children, with hundreds of accounts that could put thousands of minors on following lists. The July of this year alone, alleged predators found an average of 673 children every day. According to the analysis, the predators can entice children to perform suggestive dances or even explicit acts, the research found.
This is strange.
It is really strange.
We're on Epstein's Island on Twitch?
So Twitch responded to an emailed statement and emphasized the steps it's taken to address the issue. Preventing child harm is one of our most fundamental responsibilities as a society. Yet you still have fucking naked women on your platform. We do not allow children under 13 to use Twitch, and preventing our services from being used for harm is one of the biggest priorities.
Quote unquote.
Those are fucking fat quotes.
All it is like, yeah, I'm over 13.
Twitch's chief producer officer Tom Verrilli also provided a comment on the problem. Even one single instance of grooming is apparent to us. And if it's valid, the data you reference demonstrates that we are not offering the level of protection we strive for yet, which is deeply upsetting.
That was abhorrent.
Abhorrent. I don't give a fuck. The work is vitally important for everyone at Twitch and will never stop.
I don't want to say it.
So although these problems exist similar to a degree on Meta's platforms, Facebook and Instagram, and on Google's YouTube, the Bloomberg report highlights Twitch, since abuse is increasing and it's increasing concern in the world of online games. Twitch is a popular live stream. Yeah, we already know that.
Yeah, but there was a big difference between it's apparent to us and it's abhorrent.
I don't give a fuck.
That's a huge difference. Yeah, of course there's child
All right,
predators
guys.
out there.
Thanks for watching the Blacklisted Gaming Podcast. I'm officially done doing this shit.
Until they take their reading class. This is the Army standard
Reading out
class.
loud is tough for me. I don't know why. It always has been. So
This is the Army's new standard.
So a lot of the Twitch
You don't need a high
creators,
school diploma anymore.
a lot of Twitch creators were setting up protests for, Twitch's acts towards creators and the fact that they were doing nothing about gambling scams. So now Twitch is finally doing something about gambling. We'll actually dive into why. I'm pretty sure Twitch was getting hurt by this financially.
No, they weren't. They were making a shit ton of money from it. That's
No,
why
I'm
they
talking
allowed
about the fact that they were not doing anything about it. They were going to get hurt financially. That's the only reason why they did anything about it.
Oh, I know why they did it.
So Twitch cracks down on gambling, but streamers aren't sure it's enough. Nice slot machine, bitch.
Sluts.
So after a whirlwind week that started with a Twitch streamer scamming his fans and other creators out of hundreds of thousands of dollars and only escalated from there. Really, who was it?
I can't remember his name, but he came out and
Was he a big creator?
Yeah, and he had talked about it. Like, he would go around asking for money and stuff from other streamers, and he would use it towards gambling.
Okay. Someone's got a problem.
Significantly.
Twitch has finally cracked down on gambling. But after initially celebrating a total ban, streamers are beginning to realize Twitch's language isn't as ironclad as it seems. Twitch is an Amazon owned. We already know. We already know.
We got to talk about this every article.
In a tweet published Tuesday evening, Twitch announced that beginning in October, it will prohibit streaming of gambling sites that include slots, roulette, or dice games that aren't licensed either in the U.S. or other jurisdictions that provide sufficient consumer protection. What are loot boxes then?
Debatable.
Such sites include stake.com, rollbit.com, dualbits, and roulette.com, according to the announcement. All of which partner with popular Twitch streamers or otherwise had presence on the platform. The tweet included a carve-out of websites focused on sports betting, fantasy sports, and poker. This strikes a blow to casino-style betting. Wait, so GTA 5 has a casino that you can bet on, but it's not real money you're betting on.
That's not the same. They like the
You
people,
use real money to buy the chips, though.
Well, yeah, I mean, you can, but this is talking about like people would be in the like, legitimate betting sites on Twitch.
Oh, I see a buzzword here.
Cryptocurrency? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, the formula is simple. Streamers visit a gambling website and exchange real money for crypto, which they can bet on simple games for chance like slots and roulette. Viewers tune in to vicariously experience the thrill of being a high roller. Why? I'm not actually gambling.
I want to be a loser in the virtual world.
I want to watch another guy blow his money and live vicariously through him.
I mean, you think about it, it's the same reason that we'll watch a streamer that's really good at a game because we suck, but we want to watch.
Yeah, but there's no one who's good
someone
at
else.
gambling. I'm sorry, like especially things like slot machines, dice games. You are literally set up to
Poker,
lose.
I guess, could be the exception.
If you're playing Texas Hold'em and you want to watch someone who's like really good at playing
Yeah.
Texas Hold'em against other people, that's a different
That's what I'm
story.
saying. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's what
that's
they're doing.
different because that you,
But fucking spinning a slot machine?
Oh yeah, no.
That takes
a dice game, like fuck that, like No.
Those are just people that want to gamble themselves but are too broke to do it.
yeah.
Yeah. Their frontal lobe is stopping them. So
I think their wallet's really stopping them, but
Probably.
So viewers tune in to vicariously experience the thrill of being a high roller with wealthy streamers dropping tens or hundreds of thousands and sometimes more to very occasionally win millions.
like Trainwreck has been talked about for gambling, his gambling streams frequently.
So who's that?
He's a popular streamer.
So as early as 2018, Twitch casino section contained numerous channels of question. They had a whole fucking casino section.
Yeah, it's like how because they had to separate it, like how they did the hot tub thing.
Oh, yeah. Yet it's in the forefront of the fucking platform. But we separated it.
It's like taking our problems and like, we're going to push these over here for a while. We're not going to deal with them. We're just going to create a new platform for you or a new category. You're going to go over here. You're going to be away from everybody. And we're just not going to look at you or deal with you.
So their casino section contained numerous channels of questionable repute, some of which inflated their viewer counts with bots to advertise specific slots gambling websites.
Because they would get ads from these companies.
Or they
would
were
get
trying to
sponsors
bolster
and
their
everything.
profits,
Yeah.
I see.
Yeah.
So over time, this grew into more of an influencer-driven strategy, with the relative success of longtime slot streamers like Ishmael Rothstein luring bigger names like gamer-turned-gambler Tyler Trainwreck, as you just said, and Twitch king Felix XQC Lenguil.
I think he's French.
That sounds like a French-ass
He's
name.
like French. I think he's French.
Felix Lenguil. Sites like Stake struck deals with Twitch-grown personalities like Nicknam and Lenguil, with Nicknam saying he pulls over $1 million per month from his Stake sponsorship alone. Another popular gambling regular, Aiden Ross, seemingly received nearly that much per week. Holy fuck.
Isn't that the Warzone player?
I don't know. Even Drake the rapper got in on the action with his own Stake deal for an undisclosed sum. I remember this. Remember when he donated a fuck ton of money to this one chick and she just blew it off one fucking spin. She blew it all on the same stream.
She blew her load.
He donated what is it, like 20 grand or
Yeah,
something?
something like that, and she spent all of it.
That sounds familiar.
We did talk about it. So for a time, streamers paired those sponsorships with links to gambling sites and referral codes.
Yeah.
Twitch banned those additional advertising money-making methods last year. This change arose from a staff-led movement to curtail gambling on the platform, according to former Twitch employees who chose to remain anonymous out of fear of reprisal. The ban ultimately did little to curtail the gambling.
Yeah, because they found ways around it. Because they're still able to do
There's
it.
always ways around everything.
Yeah.
So many streamers have grown uncomfortable with the gambling's increasingly prominent place on the platform, viewing broadcast as gateway to real money gambling for impressionable viewers already familiar with gambling-inspired mechanics in and around games like Counter-Strike, Genshin Impact, and the FIFA series Ultimate Team mode. Moreover, there's another bigger issue. Some streamers are breaking the law by gambling on stake, given that crypto gambling is illegal in the United States. Is it really?
I had no idea.
No, I had no clue.
To circumvent this, Nicknam first used a virtual private network to spoof being in another country, so a VPN.
I mean, because I think gambling is only actually legal in a few states.
It's not. That's more than a few, but
I don't think it's less than half for sure.
So when even that proved untenable, he uprooted his life and moved to Canada. So he fucking left the U.S. to move to Canada so he could gamble on Twitch.
Probably.
That's crazy.
Probably because, I mean, if you're making enough money and you want to continue making that money, fuck it, I'm going to move.
Dude, gambling addiction is strange to me.
Yeah, I don't understand it.
You change the situation. Like Joe Rogan moved out of California, so he continued to make more money and not pay all the taxes.
That is...
Yes, but
there's a lot more to that.
I understand
He also wanted to start his own comedy club.
Yes.
And it was just a better business opportunity.
It was mostly like California just raping him in taxes.
I will say that was a piece of it. That was definitely a piece of it, but it wasn't the sole reason.
No, it was one of the biggest reasons.
Well, on top of that, like starting your own business, like especially like your own club in California with the way that they were dealing with the pandemic was damn near impossible. So like,
but to not digress too much, I mean, just the premise of the basic formula of like, I'm going to make more money in this location, so you move.
I mean, yeah, but there's a difference between moving from California to Texas than there is from the U.S.
I agree. I'm talking
not even. There's a difference between moving from one place to another because it's more profitable because of your business versus it's more profitable for your gambling addiction.
Still business.
That's a problem. No,
that's not a business. That's gambling.
Yeah, no. And I don't understand it either. Gambling's like one of those things. Like I like to be a loser.
So look, this is even where it says
where they have sponsorships from those gambling people. They're visually gambling, but ultimately they're making money for the gamblers by bringing other people that are watching them to the gambling. So they may appear to be gambling, but because they may have started out gambling, but because they have
if you're doing something that's illegal in your country and you move to another country to keep doing it, it's still fucked up.
Yeah, I'm not disagreeing.
So that's why he did it. Online gambling laws are less stringent. So there he continued to gamble on Twitch nearly every day while swearing up and down that others should not do so. In January, he said he was down $12.9 million due to gambling. I mean, you reap what you fucking sow, dude.
It hurts my wallet. Fucking.
Nonetheless, he and others like Lengyel, who claim to become addicted, stick with it, hoping that their winnings and charitable efforts like Nicknam's partnership with mental health-focused nonprofit Rise Above the Disorder will be enough to offset damage done by their lucrative yet destructive career turns.
If I do enough heroin, I'll stop being
this is the most irrational reasoning that addicts will give for their bad habits, where they're trying to say, you know, they were hoping that their warnings and charitable efforts for their mental health focused nonprofits and stuff will be enough to offset the damage they've done to themselves, where it's like the fucking Jimmy Savile guy.
And other people.
Remember we talked about him on the last episode, the fucking dude in England that was a pedophile?
Yeah.
But yet he was also a really renowned guy in the community because he was always helping out at hospitals and stuff. All the good things that he was doing in his mind was to offset the fucking horrible shit he was doing.
That's how most people tend to operate.
Yeah, they try to do more. They try to do enough good so that in their minds it offsets the bad. When in actuality, the damage is fucking done. Anyway, so it's a move that mirrors entities like sports betting, like the NFL, which has poured $6 million into the National Council on Problem Gambling, despite the partnering with sports betting sites like DraftKings and FanDuel.
Oh yeah, which Tim the Tatman is actually sponsored by.
Yeah, I know. With Twitch,
FanDuel.
The effectiveness of this approach was debatable. In August, Bloomberg published a report of Twitch viewers who've lost tens of thousands of dollars to gambling sites after watching their favorite streamers try their luck day in and day out. So they're influencing these people to go to these sites, and now more gambling problems are rooting out because of this.
I still don't.
What?
I have a bloody nose?
No.
It looks like it. I feel like I have a bloody nose.
So all of this culminated in a week of pure chaos on Twitch. On Saturday, a streamer who goes by handle It's Slicker, who is not admitted to borrowing money from other streamers, including big names like political pundit Hassanabi Piker and nickname Hassanabi, under false pretenses, claiming that his bank account had been frozen for his Twitch payments hadn't come through and he just needed money to keep his head above water. He failed to pay friends back for months or years. He had gambled away around 200 grand. During a confession stream, It's Slicker said he got started with the popular competitive shooter Counter-Strike Global Offensive, which contains cosmetic weapon and item skins with real money, value that third-party sites use like casino chips. For him, this was a funnel into sports gambling on which he spent basically all the money he earned through Twitch. I deserve punishment. Whatever happens, happens. So despite the fact that It's Slicker apparent addiction centered around sports gambling, whose boom had... How long is this article? This is fat. So basically, they ban gambling.
So the reason that you're actually getting into it, though, so it ended up getting banned because after that, the people like Mizkif, Pokimane, and Devin Nash were all going to... They're like some of the top people on Twitch, and they have the most influence. They're like, we're going to strike Twitch. We're not going to stream for like a certain amount of days, and they were going to do it.
It was like during the holiday season, right?
They're going to do it during holiday season, which is peak advertisement for
Do you have to piss?
Twitch.
No.
What are you doing? Your ears are hot?
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's peak advertisement for Twitch. So they were like, we're just not going to stream. So when they saw so many big streamers were serious about it, and they're like, we're not going to do this unless you fucking ban. We're not going to stream unless you ban gambling. They were like, ban gambling immediately.
Yeah, because they were going to lose money.
A
That's the
shit ton of
only
money.
so that's the only. It had nothing to do with the fact that they were looking out for their creators and their streamers when it
Yeah,
came
of
to their
course.
gambling addiction. It had everything to do with the fact they were about to lose money because people were saying we're gonna fucking not stream during your peak
It's
days.
shitty when your content creators literally have to hold a gun to your head and say, "Fix this."
And that's a lot of, because that's like their top viewers, and the only way they get advertisement revenue is when people are live.
I can't wait to start streaming on YouTube. I'm gonna be there. There's gonna be more content that I'm putting out on our YouTube, and I'm gonna be steering away from Twitch. I considered. Listen, I considered. Well, I mean, I was. You know what it is? Truth, and I'm being completely honest with this. I'm comfortable on Twitch because there's a lot of. The one thing that I like the most about Twitch is that the viewer engagement is a lot better than it is on YouTube.
Yeah, they're still.
So like when it comes to like the channel point redeems and the sound alerts and all the other fun stuff that viewers like to do, you can't do that on YouTube.
You can do a lot more on YouTube than like previously.
Yeah, that's why I'm starting to get into it, because I see what they're trying to do. They're trying to compete with Twitch and bring in some of the same things, but also do things better, which is why I'm like, I think I'm just going to go to YouTube. But like the reason why I stayed with Twitch is because at the time when I tried streaming on YouTube, they didn't have those options, and getting it all to work the way that I do for my Twitch streams was really difficult, because like the transition from Twitch to YouTube takes time. It doesn't take time for the fact of getting people to grow your channel, which that takes time anyway. It takes time to learn how to use it.
Yeah.
So getting it to reflect how your stream is on Twitch. So it's like, I'm looking at it like when it comes to alerts and other sources that I use in Twitch, looking into this more, it's very difficult figuring out how to get that to work for YouTube. Like showing my chat. What I have to do to show my chat in my stream, this is just a small example. On Twitch, I just honestly, like, my stream elements that I use has that source in there already built in to show my Twitch chat. But for YouTube, it's different because your Twitch chat or your YouTube chat has its own URL separate from your stream. So if I want to actually show my YouTube stream in my chat, I have to put in a browser source in my OBS to show the stream, to show the chat. But that only works for that one stream. It changes every stream. So before I go live, I have to change that and you can only change it once you go live. You can't change it.
The stream key won't change though.
The stream key won't change, but the URL for the chat will change.
Yeah.
So I have to go in once I go live, and I can't prep for it one time and then it's all there. So for YouTube, I have to prep more and farther in advance to get a stream. The other thing is for discoverability reasons. YouTube's bread and butter is the fact that it's a video platform right now and not so much a streaming platform, even though it is starting to lean more towards streaming as it goes. But that still seems a little bit farther down the road for them. It's like another couple years out, I think, before they actually start leaning heavily more into streaming. I know their research stuff for this is getting, they're ramping that up because they're trying.
Discoverability is still 1,000% better.
It is better, but you have to. It's better because you can actually fine tune your discoverability based off of search criteria and in other content that you can post onto it. So like you could, so for your VODs on Twitch, your VODs on Twitch aren't going to fucking get you any discoverability. Whereas your VODs on YouTube will. So you can use your shorts and stuff and other forms of content and gear your streams and your other videos towards the search.
Yeah.
And that way it'll pop up in the search on the first page. Like, it's all about winning the click.
And they want, the more people are on YouTube, you get rewarded for that because they're not going to another website.
So YouTube is still, to this day, the most popular platform for searching for stuff. And in fact, when I was looking at podcasts, because I talked to you about this yesterday, when it comes to a podcast on YouTube, it doesn't gain traction as well because it's long form, very long form, and retention for a podcast episode on YouTube is pretty low. However, on the other hand, besides Spotify, YouTube is actually one of the top most used platforms for listening to podcasts. But getting revenue for it is actually harder than everything else because it's longer form.
I wonder if it's because it only counts like that first time that viewer account is listening to it. And so like if they come back and they finish it, if that even registers. Because I know one view.
So one view counts after 3 minutes.
But that's per viewer.
Per viewer, yes.
And then, let's say if they go back and watch it again, it's still one view for that account.
Yeah,
that's what I mean.
So. I think so.
So like I think if they go back and they go back and finish it later on, it's not registering that.
I don't know if it is or not because there are some videos I think that where it registers it every few minutes at a time. So if you watch for 3 minutes or more for the first time, and then you leave and you come back like the next day and you watch another 3 more minutes, then that counts as another view. So what was I going to say? Oh, so when I was researching on how to get a podcast going with YouTube, like for the YouTube algorithm, YouTube is actually looking into making a podcast section. So they're actually going to be making this where a podcast platform for YouTube.
And it's, I mean, it's Google, so like search engine optimization is their thing.
It is absolutely their thing. So going on to the next topic.
All right, we got the Fat Brock topic.
Yeah, we're going to talk about Fat Brock.
Fat Brock.
So YouTuber exposed as the real insider behind the major Assassin's Creed leak and others.
Which Assassin's Creed leak?
All of them.
Oh, okay.
All of the newest ones.
The ones that could be fucking DLC.
So no, like they're all. So they got a Japanese samurai Assassin's Creed coming out. They have one set in the Middle East.
They're doing cosmetic skins now.
Yeah.
Oh, they've been doing
So
that.
Dan Allen apologized for breaking his multiple NDAs as the real insider after accidentally outing himself on Twitter.
I legitimately just can't stop seeing Fat Brock constantly at this point.
Well, you don't have to see him anymore. So YouTuber Dan Allen has apologized for breaking multiple NDAs and revealing information on games in development after being revealed as the person behind the popular leaks, the real insider.
Uh-oh.
So the Dan Allen Gaming YouTube channel has a general interest channel featuring guides, walkthroughs, reactions, and other game-related information, all very innocuous. The real insider, on the other hand, seemed to have more behind-the-scenes access.
That's a big word for you.
Since being activated earlier, I can read out loud is just tough. So, the real insider, on the other hand, seemed to have a more behind-the-scenes access. Since being activated earlier this year, the account has revealed information about numerous upcoming games and events, most recently Ubisoft's big Assassin's Creed presentation, which the account leaked almost in its entirety.
Uber forward.
Ubi Forward, this is what he said before the event. Assassin's Creed Valhalla DLC, Assassin's Creed Codename Red, Codename Jade, Codename Hex, and Mirage.
Mirage is the one with the character from Valhalla, I think.
Yeah, it is.
Which they said that it should have been DLC for Valhalla, but they went ahead and made it its own game.
So, but things went sideways earlier this week thanks to a classic social media blunder. In response to a Twitter inquiry aimed at the real insider, Allen replied from the wrong account. He quickly deleted the tweet, but of course it was caught and shared. Bloomberg reporter Jason Schreier also posted a series of tweets noting links from similarities between two accounts, nothing fully definitive, but quite coincidence, as he put it, because the real insider and Jason Schreier would often go back and forth with each other, like in arguments, where this guy would say, no, I know for a fact this is right. And Jason Schreier would be like, how do you, like, this is not right. This signs point to no.
So
But the reason why this guy knew is because he was under an NDA and he actually knew.
Oh, that's interesting.
So it's one thing when you are the insider giving information to another source. But what he was doing was that he was acting like he was getting something from another source, but actually he was, was the source. So he would buzz it up from his insider source account and then be like, wow, look at this. And then he'd be the first one on it because he was the first one on it.
And he was given exact information.
Yes.
Whereas it seems like most leaks are like
Speculation.
almost 100%, but not
They're
always.
accurate to a degree.
Yeah. They're not 100% accurate.
So those tweets have since been deleted, but were also saved for posterity by, I'm not saying it. Faced with all that, Alan quickly cops to being the real insider and apologized for his behavior in a now deleted tweet. I'm sorry to everyone for my actions, he wrote. I'm ashamed and disappointed in myself.
No, you're not.
I'll be taking some time to reflect on my poor decisions, which will never occur again. To everyone that has supported me over the years, I'm truly sorry I let you down. You're not sorry you did it. You're sorry you got caught.
Exactly.
If I'm gonna be honest, if this was me and I got caught, I'd be like, I knew what I was doing, and I am only sorry that I got caught, and that's pretty much it. Like, I mean,
it.
I admit that my actions were not good.
He's trying so hard to not get sued.
Yeah.
Because of the NDAs, like all the shit that he let out.
Usually the NDAs are more of like, they will never let you get more inside shit. Instead of suing you. Some companies will. Usually it doesn't lead to that.
Since you disclosed, we're never disclosing again.
So many followers responded to his apology and said they hope he'll bounce back from his mistake and resume his streaming career. Others expressed doubt that anyone would be able to come back from this sort of credibility shredding incident. Both Dan Allen Gaming and the Real Insider Twitter accounts are now gone.
Oh, wow.
But the Dan Allen Gaming YouTube channel for now remains active. This is his tweet.
That's crazy.
So it's undoubtedly embarrassing to be caught like this, but Allen's real problem may be much more serious. Getting early access to the kind of information he was leaking often, and in the case of Ubisoft, always, requires signing legally binding non-disclosure agreements. They vary from company to company, but essentially state that if you share the information you're being given out of turn, you could be held responsible for all kinds of interesting, unpleasant, and potentially very expensive ways. So we're going to kill your children. So these NDAs are serious enough that I don't sign any of them without passing them through our legal department first. And yes, we have a legal department. This is PC Gamer, by the way, saying this.
PC. Politically correct? Or personal computer?
I lost myself because I got a text.
These NDAs are serious.
So these NDAs are serious enough that I already said that. To ensure that I'm not going to accidentally bankrupt the company by CCing the wrong person in an email. Alan clearly didn't have those corners, and you don't bother involving lawyers if you're just going to pour your secrets out all over the internet anyway.
Concerns,
whatever. But there's no way he got the info he shared without signing a required paperwork. Regardless of the sincerity of his apology, by copying to being the real insider, he also admitted to violating multiple NDAs, some of which, based on my own experience, carry heavy penalties. It's possible that Ubisoft's legal team will take it easy on him, but it's also possible that social media humiliation will very soon be the least of Alan's worries.
I think they'll only go after him if it's going to be beneficial for them.
I don't think it will be.
Like if it's, let's say it's like going after a broke person and taking them to court. You're not really going to get anything because they're fucking broke.
No, you're really not.
It's really just going to hurt you in the long run because you're not truly going to benefit from it.
Right.
They're just not going to give him any more information. And plus, he's already going to be ruined anyways. You got to think, if your main job, granted he did it to himself, but if your main job is like content creation and everything like that, and then you fuck yourself like this to where like you have to delete
financially
almost everything.
Yeah, this is going to fuck him.
He's fucked over already.
Like
he's fucked.
Granted, he's still got the skills, and he could probably just create a whole new channel, and he could even take his fucking face off of it or whatever. Technology.
I've actually one of the early episodes I ever did, I actually did talk to somebody that was under an NDA, but I didn't name them.
I remember. Yeah, you mentioned.
And it was like for Ghost Recon Breakpoint because he got access to the alpha, and Ubisoft made everybody that had access to the alpha sign NDAs, which the alpha raised a red flag for me to the beginning because the release date versus the testing alpha.
Yeah.
The testing alpha was literally 2 or 3 months before the release date.
Yeah.
And I was like, that is really early for a test alpha. Why are you?
2042? What?
Huh?
I said Battlefield? What?
No, this was yeah, I know. But the fucking testing, I'm like, this is a testing alpha, and he even said the fact that this is a testing alpha and the game he's like, this game is not ready to launch in 3 months.
You know they called the Warzone 2 an alpha when they sent the creators to LA last week or something. They said the Warzone 2 was an alpha.
Which is not an alpha. If it's this fucking close to launch, because Warzone 2 comes out in November, which is in 2 months.
Yeah.
This is not an alpha. This is a fucking demo.
Yeah.
This is a demo, and I tried telling people this, like, betas are not betas. They're fucking demos.
Nick Merck said the same thing. He
Because
was like, guys, that's the fucking game.
This is the game. They can only fix so much with this little bit of time.
Mm.
A true beta would be 5-6 months before the game came out.
Yeah.
Maybe.
And even still,
that's still pretty reflective of what the game's going to be like because it's way too late in development.
I mean, it didn't look terrible.
It didn't look terrible, but it's still, obviously it had issues, especially with the hacking thing, but that's a whole another fucking topic. But the point is, like what I was saying before, this guy was under an NDA because Ubisoft made him sign an NDA to not disclose because he said they told him this does not reflect the final product. However, it did. It really did because he said the game is very empty. There's almost nothing to do while you're doing things. There was no PV, like not PvP, but there's no co-op, which Ghost Recon Wildlands had co-op in the very beginning. So you also have no AI teammates. So you were literally by yourself in this massive open world where things were very spread apart. And there was like, the game honestly felt like a tech demo of a future Ghost Recon game when I played it. At launch, I played it. And I was like, dude, this game is fucking... I was so bored playing this game. Like I even said, this and Anthem were the two games that I played where I literally was falling asleep playing it because it was just so boring. And
I mean, they died, so
they did die off. But
speaking of multiplayer, have you gotten Hunt Showdown yet?
Oh, here we go. Here we go.
I hear you didn't like it too much.
I just didn't play it enough. I didn't have enough friends that were ever online too often, so I didn't have the time to learn it to really get into it.
Hunt has a lot of nuances to it.
Like, it was interesting. It wasn't like terrible.
Like that's the thing that I will say about it. If you do decide to do it, like get on with like me and Eldridge. Like let us
play with friends.
Yes, let us.
You mean like every fucking game in existence?
Let us Sherpa you through there.
But it's one of those games to where you can't just jump in with randoms and like have a good time or even really learn it.
It's honestly like Tarkov.
Yeah, like you've got to play with friends.
Yeah.
So we're going to talk about the EVGA and their fallout with NVIDIA.
So that's a no, right?
Well, I don't know if it's a fallout because they're the ones that said we're not making your shit. They made that decision themselves.
That sounds like a falling out to me.
I mean, sort of. When you're the one that makes the decision to end the contract, is it a falling out?
So GPU monolith NVIDIA is going through a very public divorce with one of its key partners, and they just decided they're out for good. So PC graphics card manufacturer EVGA has announced that it will terminate making GPU hardware for the end of this current hardware generation, following a large-scale falling out with GPU tech titan NVIDIA. In a move that is likely to have significant repercussions across the PC gaming hardware industry, which is also why I said this is very strange that they announced a new GPU. Like, what the fuck are they going to do?
They've got to have another.
This is going to hurt
distributor.
This is going to hurt the GPU market significantly.
Maybe. I think NVIDIA's got to have another distributor.
Yeah, they have to have something.
I would imagine they
lined up.
would, but
Right.
we'll see. In a move that is likely to have significant repercussions across the PC gaming hardware industry, EVGA isn't just dropping NVIDIA. It also has no plans to move into creating GPUs with either AMD or Intel, NVIDIA's two key rivals. So they're not going to be making GPUs at all.
What the fuck are they going to be doing? It's 80% of their business.
I know. The company, which is well known for making high-quality cards at reasonable prices, will instead quit the GPU business entirely.
What? Your stock is plummeting, dude.
And it did. It really did. So the news delivered today by a small number of hardware specialists, media, and various detailed reports, the best of which can be found over the brilliant Gamer Nexus on YouTube. These outlets were directly briefed by EVGA, which confirmed that despite building prototype and test cards based on NVIDIA's upcoming 40 series GPUs, it won't be proceeding with those products or any further NVIDIA products. They had prototype test cards that they were already starting to build the 40 series, and now they said they are no longer going forward with them.
That's the one where like it's not computable with current PC builds, right?
Yeah, because it's not out yet. This is the one that NVIDIA literally just announced.
Yeah, but they said like if it's not going to be able to, like this PC the way it is now, it's not compatible with it. You'd have to have like a whole.
You have to completely build a supercomputer after this. Yeah.
Yeah.
So the statement was confirmed by the official website, but only in a short forum post from the EVGA project manager. EVGA will not carry on the next generation of graphics cards, the statement offers, before reiterating support for current generation products will continue. So current gens, it will continue, but this new one and any others after will not. The falling out appears to primarily be about money, of course, with EVGA's main complaint being that NVIDIA's is allegedly undercutting third-party cards with its own Founders Edition cards. Because NVIDIA makes those GPUs essentially cuts out the middleman of third-party manufacturers such as EVGA, Gigabyte, or Asus. It can charge less, and as a result, obtain a market position that puts other manufacturers in an impossible situation. The claim is that in many cases it is impossible for EVGA to actually sell certain 30 series GPU models that at a profit, such as the size of undercut NVIDIA is able to perform with its in-house cards. So basically, they're not profiting from this.
So it sounds like NVIDIA is basically selling some of them at source for quote-unquote cheaper, but they're making all the profit and they're undercutting other sources.
It seems like they're taking a big profit from EVGA, but also selling their own cards at a cheaper price than EVGA.
So then less people are even going to EVGA in the first place.
Yeah, which is tanking their profits completely.
Yeah.
So talking to Gamers Nexus, EVGA CEO Andrew Hahn described the decision as a matter of principle rather than strictly about financials, going on to elaborate with claims that communication and treatment from NVIDIA towards its partners has been poor.
I mean, that's fair too. I mean, if you're making a product for somebody and you're helping distribute it,
and they treat you like shit,
and they're undercutting you, even if that's not going to break your company, it's just like, why would I work with you? You're trying to undercut us.
Yeah. So the premise, I agree with the premise of it.
Right.
It's just crazy that it's such a massive fucking percentage of their business.
I know. For EVGA, this is a major decision. Though EVGA makes other products, including power supplies, Gamer Nexus reports that over 70% of the company's revenue comes from its GPU department, a market that the business now seeks to leave entirely. This seems like suicide. This also might be painful for NVIDIA, as EVGA represents a significant percentage of NVIDIA GPU sales worldwide, but that gap may be simply filled by other partners.
Yeah, I think it's going to.
For whatever reason, EVGA isn't interested with engineering GPUs with AMD or Intel technology, and is stepping away. Despite this, and despite how many staff will no longer have relevant skills to the brand, top-level EVGA executives say they have no intention of making staff cuts. What? How not?
What?
What are they going to do?
I mean, that's noble, but like how?
I don't see that standing at all. I see that being like, we don't plan on doing this at all. 2 months later, we have to get rid of you because there's no reason for you to be here.
I think it's noble that they're being like, we don't want to get rid of you guys. They've got to have a plan. They've got to have a plan.
I honestly think that that's just them saving face.
Yeah.
Because how can you not? Like you have staff that is specifically designed, like their speciality is making GPUs.
Unless
you took that away from them.
Right, and then now what are they going to do?
What are they going to do? Unless they have other skills involved.
They've got to have a specific business plan of where they're taking this next. Because they're also a public company.
Yeah.
So like that means that shareholders and like a board has to approve decisions.
Oh, their stock is tanking. Guarantee it's tanking.
But they had to, they had to know that. There's got to be a plan here, unless it's
both
like
these companies had to have a plan for
unless
this.
it's like some shady shit to where they're like they're gonna intentionally tank the company, and then like assets are going places where we don't really know. You know what I mean?
That will probably be in the future. We'll see about that.
Like the CEO is rich and everybody else is broke. Like
So all this
that one
comes
movie.
out at a particularly interesting and difficult time in the PC hardware market, especially around GPUs. Over the last couple of years throughout the pandemic, GPU demand rocketed thanks to the combination of demand for gaming hardware and the crypto craze. This led to soaring prices and low availability, which caused GPU manufacturers to up their games and boost their output. Then, predictably, the bottom fell out. As crypto values slid, miners sold off their old cards and demand slumped, which led to many hardware companies taking a bath. What does that mean? Left sitting in a huge excess of inventory. That's what that means. A shortage turned into surplus practically overnight. NVIDIA ended up missing its revenue projections by a huge amount. This is the position we're in now, on the cusp of a new generation in the form of the 40 series, but with the excess 30 series products clogging up the supply chain.
Yeah, because there was such a shortage of it for a time because people were using them for the crypto mining.
Yeah, now they're getting rid of them.
There was such a shortage of them now that
and now they're
isn't
not
really a thing.
They're not using them anymore because it's a dying market in this moment. There's a fucking massive amount of GPUs out there.
Yeah, and with the new series that you basically had to have a new PC build that most people can't fucking pay for.
Yeah,
they're gonna buy the old series.
So whatever happens with the 40 series, EVGA will not be part of it. The company will continue to sell through its existing inventory of 30 series cards and hold back some units in order to ensure they can fulfill warranty and repair requirements for the cards it already sold. Once stock is out, however, the company plans to make no more GPUs. I don't understand how this is going to work. I don't understand how that's going to work at all.
It doesn't make any sense.
It doesn't make sense. I'm like, what? So what are you going to do? That's like saying Ford is no longer going to sell fucking cars.
Yeah.
We're no longer going to make cars. Like, what do you mean? What do you mean you're not going to make cars? Or better yet, Ford is
so they're not doing sedans anymore.
Oh no, pickup trucks. Ford pickup trucks.
What about them?
That was one of their biggest markets.
Oh yeah, sorry, I said no. Like, because Ford came out and said that they weren't going to make like Ford or cars anymore.
Oh yeah, that too.
Like they're just going to do like, admittedly, now granted for Ford this is different.
Mustangs
Ford,
and pickup trucks.
Right. That was their smallest part of their market. So them saying, hey, we're going to get rid of this to make it easier to produce like our SUVs, trucks, Mustangs, things like that. That is our actual market. That made a little bit of sense. That was like, okay.
Yeah. This is like Ford cutting out pickup trucks and SUVs and selling sedans.
And their Mustangs, and that's it. And you're like, whoa, that's most of your market's gone. Like,
like you're cutting, and it's like, what's your plan from that? Just to survive on this? Like, that's not going to fucking last.
Yeah, we'll sell out the last of our pickup trucks and SUVs, and we won't make any more. It's like, what the fuck?
It is extremely confusing that they were doing this. So let's talk about NVIDIA's response.
Fuck you
hey,
guys.
by the way, guys, hey, heads up. I might have to go here soon if Keisha's car is still having problems. So
what's going on?
Just like
she break down?
No, her tire is flat and she doesn't know if she can get to a fucking gas station.
God, she's breaking down. Her car.
Did she just get a flat like right now?
Not like this second, but she got it like a little while ago. Like her tires started leaking more, and so I may have to go fix that.
She's in all types of shambles.
Well, so apparently the stress fracture's healed, but they don't know about the soft tissue damage yet. She's still in limbo for like 6 months.
Good lord! So she's still stuck here for 6 months.
Yeah.
Oh, she's definitely.
No, her order's already gone.
Okay.
Yeah, no, which is like, I mean, I guess nice because now she's going to try to do the last 2 classes that she needs to put in that hygienist package, which is nice because then that means that she would still have less time before she gets into that school than if she just went to the new command.
They asked me last night. They're like, "Why didn't you invite Nelson and Keisha to the wedding?" And I was like, "Because Keisha was supposed to be gone, and I didn't want Nelson to be like a third wheel." And like she was freshly
didn't invite me.
Well, because she was supposed to. I knew she was supposed to have been gone by the time that the wedding was there. And then I was like, I don't want him to be a third wheel, but because back when I had invited him, she was supposed to be gone, and I didn't know. I didn't find out she was still here till like 2 days ago when I saw her post on Facebook. So I was like, "What?" I mean, he'll be happy. But then they had asked me, I was like, she was supposed to be gone.
You still could have invited him, you cock.
No, I couldn't because it wasn't my wedding. Like, it wasn't. I had only gotten the slots to invite you guys because they had enough.
Oh, I thought you were talking about like your wedding.
No, the wedding we went to a wedding yesterday.
Oh, okay.
It was my fiance's friend.
Okay, that's why I was like.
Oh, speaking of, does Stephanie's mom live closer or farther?
Schaumburg.
Is that farther from then? Like,
I think it's a little closer.
Is it a little closer? How long did it take you to get here?
About an hour.
Okay, so it's relatively closer.
But yeah, I was like, Because I didn't want you to be like that third wheel, especially if she was supposed to have been gone very recently. I'd have been like, oh, that's like a source.
All right, well, let's try to blast through some topics before
Anyway,
Thick Boy
sorry,
has to go.
just saying.
But yeah, no. See, I thought you meant your wedding. That's why I was like,
No,
you
no.
fucking prick. Like, you didn't invite me.
No,
like,
no. I didn't have control over who I
okay,
got to
that's
bring.
different. Okay.
This is a completely different person's
Yeah,
wedding.
I was like, what the fuck?
I even I took a photo and put a caption that said, "Who are you people?" Because I didn't know anybody there.
Oh man, no. So wait a minute. When is yours?
October 31st.
Okay. Are you like doing anything?
No,
Yeah, I'm not even.
it's going to be with us and our parents, and then we actually are considering making our reception party thing this coming summer.
No. Okay.
So that will probably be the only thing that we'll do. Which, yes, you all will fucking be invited to. Don't worry.
And I'm going to have the people that are at the courthouse. So.
Cool. All right, so let's go on with NVIDIA's response. So NVIDIA CEO says the market will be served well after EVGA, but it was a great partner. So let's say just days prior to NVIDIA's RTX 40 series graphics card
They let us
broadcast,
abuse them for many years.
one of the company's largest and most prolific AIB partners, EVGA, announced that it will no longer manufacture its GPUs. So in recent Q&A with NVIDIA CEO Jason Huang, shortly after the company's GTC live stream, I asked CEO what his thoughts on EVGA's departure from that side of the business, which of course he's going to give a PR answer.
Yeah.
Andrew Han wanted to wind down the business, and he's wanted to do that for a couple of years. Andrew and EVGA are great partners, and we're great partners.
Did Trump make this speech? What's happening here?
EVGA and Andrew and the EVGA are great partners, and we're great partners. And I'm sad to see them leave the market. But he's got other plans, and he's been thinking about it for several years.
Fair winds and following seas. That's what I heard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The market has a lot of great players, and it'll be served well after EVGA, but we'll always miss them. I'll always miss them. And they were an important part of our history, and Andrew is a great friend. And, I think that it was just time for him to go do something else. That's a lot saying for, in contrast to the why EVGA left.
Yeah.
It's like, these guys are great. I'm friends with them. And it's like, you were undercutting us and we couldn't keep up and we just don't want to fucking do it anymore. They were great. We love them. He's my friend. That doesn't sound like a very friend thing to do.
No.
So EVGA's business is to a large extent driven by GPU card sales. Reportedly around 80% of its business to date is graphics cards alone. Reportedly has no plans to roll out layoffs as part of its change in direction. However, which is surprising to say the least. Hopefully it can and will stick to that. I don't think it can.
Yeah, unless they have a major plan to
unless they're getting into a completely different market of something else. I don't see what the fuck out. What are you going to do? Make vehicle chips? Oh wait.
Ooh.
That's a good point.
Did I just come up with a good point?
That's a very. Can we document that?
This guy's gonna. Hopefully, this guy sees this podcast. It's like, holy shit!
What is this, episode 93?
It's what are they? Because there is a vehicle chip shortage. Is that could be what they're doing?
And that was kind of also tied in with the GPU thing because they use very similar parts, and like phone chips, all that stuff. Like just the computer chip stuff in general. It was a huge shortage. One of the reasons that the GPU shortage was so big was because of cars and like Tesla using them and all their shit. And now more cars are using computer chips. So like just computer chips in general, the resources for them were super shortened.
I almost wonder if they're going to start getting into CPUs and vehicle chips or whatever other kind of chips.
It could be
if they're getting out of the GPU business, they have to be going into another one.
I bet you the car thing makes a lot of sense actually, like for like car chips, because they're kind of similar in a sense.
Yeah, they are.
It's still a computer chip. It's not necessarily for graphics for a gaming thing, but it's still a chip for a vehicle to be able to function mechanically.
I'm really now excited to see what they do because if I'm right, that would be wild, wouldn't it? So anyway,
we're putting it out on Twitter.
Yeah,
we called it. Listen to
it.
the episode. It's dated.
According to initial reports on
video.
EVGA's decision from Gamers Nexus and John Patty, EVGA cited thin margins for GPU and unfair treatment as reasons why it will no longer create new graphics cards.
What was this, Activision?
I remembered NVIDIA just said, what a good friend of mine. And here they are saying that like they treated us like shit.
I abuse my friends. Yes.
So according to both, NVIDIA's decision to undercut EVGA with its own Founders Edition cards left the company frustrated and feeling like its relationships had soured. NVIDIA released a statement immediately following the event that is similar to one in Huang's later comments.
Wang.
I might be saying that wrong.
Nope. It just feels so
Huang.
right.
We've had a great partnership with EVGA over the years, and we'll continue to support them on our current generation of products until that's done.
Basically, we're under contract and we don't have a choice.
Said NVIDIA representative, we wish Andrew and our friends at EVGA all the best. They all do that. This is so PR.
Yes.
We can assume that any allocation of RTX 40 series GPUs intended for EVGA, such as those of the RTX 4090 launching soon, will soon be divided among NVIDIA's remaining AIBs, including Asus, MSI, Gigabyte, Zotac, and others. So they have several different
MSI
ones.
is a big one, too. That's the kind of computer I have that has NVIDIA.
Asus is big, too.
Yeah.
Although it may well be that EVGA never had any allocated to begin with, as this decision may have been a long time in the making. I doubt we'll feel any lull as a result of EVGA's departure. However, we will be at a loss of EVGA designs, many of which were impressive. Which all of BR Paradox GPUs are usually EVGA GPUs. I've noticed that a lot of their S tier builds that they have in their PCs are EVGA GPUs.
Not anymore.
Not anymore.
The regiment.
Not the least bit is Kingpin Designs overclocker Vince Kingpin Lucido, who has long worked with the EVGA on extreme graphics cards, put out a statement thanking fans for the years of working with EVGA, and noted this isn't necessarily the end of the Kingpin Designs, though didn't specify any further information. Perhaps that more of open offer or any interested parties rather than confirmation of an agreement already in place soon for after EVGA has left the party. I'll also miss EVGA's queue system, which was one of the better ways to politely queue up for an in-demand graphics card in these past few years. Though hopefully we won't be in much dire need for this sort of system in the next gen now that Ethereum mining has gone away. Interesting. So speaking of GPUs, NVIDIA announced the next gen of GPUs. This is a big fucking... That's a lot. Them big words. Them big words.
That's fucking huge.
So NVIDIA officially announced its RTX 40 series GPU today after months of rumors and some of the recent teasing from NVIDIA. The RTX 4090 and RTX 4080 are now both official. The RTX 4090 arrives in October for a 12th price at $1,500.
They've come out with
$1,600, I should say.
Very quickly, because I have a 2070, and I remember right when I got mine, the 2080 came out.
Yeah, they roll these up fast.
And I've only had my computer.
I mean, it just feels like a few months ago they just announced the 3090,
Yeah.
and now here's like 40 series. Like, damn, dude.
Like, that was fucking quick.
You okay over there
Yeah, I'm probably gonna go.
now? All right.
Because now it's flat.
Damn.
Now it's flat.
RIP to my return episode.
All right, hang on. Let's pause this real quick. We'll be right back. We're gonna go send our friend away.
But you'll never know.
Say bye to everybody. Why don't you give us a nice little posy?
Oh, you need a pose for the fucking.
A pose for the thing.
What kind of pose are we doing?
Whatever the fuck you want to do.
I don't know.
Do an excited pose because I'm back.
Excited pose.
Get rid of the microphone.
Oh,
There we go.
well, okay.
Now do it.
Good.
All right, good.
Like it.
All right, let's pause. So we're back.
I bet that's gonna be a funny transition though, to just have it. Oh, and there they are.
Yeah, I mean, we had to
Well,
change it because Nelson left early.
What a hell of a return episode. He just up and abandons us.
I mean, Keisha had a flat tire. And he
Damn
feels
her
really
tire.
bad about it.
This is her tire. I blame her tire 100%.
Oh, so you weren't doing any like you weren't checking your vehicle and doing proper vehicle maintenance, huh?
Sounds like it. Yep.
Oh.
Was it PCMIs?
We call it PCS, but vehicle inspections is what you're typically supposed to do to your own POV, but whatever.
What about? Do you guys have an inspection whenever you go to leave or go on leave or a long weekend? We have to check off different things on your car.
Yeah.
Okay.
But when when you were in Europe, like most of the time you didn't have to do that because you weren't traveling through with a vehicle. Like you were traveling through like public transport. You were either taking a taxi or a train or flying wherever you're going. You didn't take your POV anywhere. Sometimes you would if you had that and it wasn't really that far. But after a certain distance, like they wanted you to do a vehicle inspection sheet, which is a little bit different for me because I had a motorcycle. So my vehicle inspection was
quicker.
It wasn't that it was quicker, as it wasn't required for every single one.
You had to do the fucking motorcycle course.
Well, yeah. Oh, fuck yeah, I did. Which was dumb. I mean, it wasn't dumb. It was It was good. I mean, I think even if you've already been riding for a while, you should take a fucking safety course to refresh.
I heard it's interesting, or it can be harder with the type of bike that you might have.
Yeah, of course it is. Unless you're not the safety course, you use your bike.
Yeah.
At least we did.
And I've heard like if you have a bigger bike or something, or one that doesn't take turns super sharply, it's gonna suck.
It is gonna suck because you have to take some super sharp turns, but if you're familiar with your bike, it shouldn't be that hard.
Mm.
If you've been riding that bike for years, you know how to take sharp turns with it. So, in a way, when I took my riding test, it was weird because I just gotten the bike, so it was a different bike than I was used to riding all the time. But I had been riding for a while.
Mm.
But it was actually, honestly, it was a little bit easier because my bike fucking really maneuvered shit. And I was like, well, okay. Anyway.
Back to NVIDIA.
Back to the NVIDIA. So we were saying that NVIDIA officially announced the RTX 40 series GPUs today. After months and rumors of the recent teasing from NVIDIA, the RTX 4090 and RTX, we talked about the price, with the RTX 80 price starting at $899 and the available in November. Both are powered by NVIDIA's next-gen Ada Lovelace architecture.
That's an interesting title.
So the RTX 4090 is the top-end card for the Ada Lovelace generation. It will ship with a massive 24 gigabyte of GDDR6 memory. That's a lot of memory. NVIDIA claims it's 2 to 4 times faster than the RTX 3090 Ti and will consume the same amount of power as the previous generation card. NVIDIA recommends a power supply for at least 850 watts based on the PC with a Ryzen 5900X processor.
That's pretty significant, though.
What, the power?
Yeah, like the builds that it kind of requires is
You
like,
need
it's a hefty computer.
Yeah. You want to bring that mic closer to you?
Yeah.
Yeah, get it closer to your face.
Yeah.
Now that I get it, you're not sitting on the ground where it's in your face already, so you got to pull it. So
So many
it's
puns.
saying that it's a more powerful card, but it uses the same amount of power.
That's not what I.
But they recommend a higher power for it. That's
So
what
that
they're
means you can use the lower power, but your experience is probably gonna suck.
Probably. Inside the giant RTX 4090, there are 16,384 CUDA cores.
Fuck is a CUDA core?
I don't know. A base clock of 2.23 gigahertz that boosts up to 2.52 gigahertz. 1,321 tensor teraflops. 191 RT teraflops. And 83 shader teraflops. This is all graphical shit.
I know nothing about PCs.
It's like graphical memory stuff. I don't expect you to ever know what the fuck I'm talking about. NVIDIA is actually offering the RTX 4080 in 2 models, one with a 12 gigabytes of GDDR6 memory and another of 16 gigabytes of memory. NVIDIA claims that it's 2 to 4 times faster than the existing RTX 3080 Ti, and the 12 gigabyte model will start at $899 to include
all the stuff that we said before.
all the stuff that we said before.
Didn't you say like 12 is the average?
12 what?
The gigs of memory?
Yeah, 12 is pretty average. No, 8 gigs.
Okay.
The 16 gigabyte model of the RTX isn't just a bump in memory, though. Priced at starting at $1199 it's more powerful, with all these other teracores and teraflops and stuff.
All the flops.
All 3 of the RTX 40 series cards will include new NVIDIA Shadow Play support to capture gameplay of up to 8K resolution at 60 FPS and HDR.
Shadow play.
I don't know. NVIDIA is also using its latest encoders, NVENC, with support for AV1 encoding and improved efficiency for live streams using AV1.
I'm so confused.
It's going to be better for streaming.
See? Well, yeah, because
it's going to be optimized for streaming.
Yeah, because gaming in itself, using it while streaming, there's a lot of fucking resources.
So I'm kind of curious. I want to read more into this,
especially if you just have a one PC.
So here's what Ada Lovelace is. Ada Lovelace also includes 3rd generation RT cores that are designed to greatly improve ray tracing. Oh, that's what RT cores are, ray tracing cores. Part of the improvements come down in the new DLSS 3 AI that processes new frame and prior frame, figuring out how game scenes are changing. NVIDIA demonstrated Microsoft Flight Simulator frame rates more than doubling using DLSS 3. The new frame generation could mean DLSS 3 can boost frame rates even when the game is bottlenecked by a CPU. So you could still get crazy frame rates without worrying about your CPU bottlenecking your performance.
I've seen.
Let's
I've
see
looked
what it
into
looks
a
like.
little bit of ray tracing stuff, and it still doesn't make sense to me.
What ray tracing?
Yeah.
So ray tracing essentially is this. It's using a more natural light source. So let's say that you have a game where there's the sun. You put one light source in, and all the light patterns and shadows are more relative to how it would really look. Ray tracing is like they're tracing it to the light source. So your light patterns and your shadow patterns and all that stuff are more like realistically natural versus like a rendered lights, like a light pattern in a game.
Okay.
So
like
that's
fake
why
shadows, essentially.
like fake lights and shadows and stuff. So essentially with ray tracing traces to a point of origin for the light source, and then the light reflects or puts shadows on based off of where that light source is, not versus where they say it should be.
That makes sense because a lot of people don't realize that shadows in games are also usually put in there and rendered.
Yeah, with this, it's like it generates those from the light source versus actually rendering them as their own source. So like with this, like you got the sun and like how it shines through the pixels of everything here. This is gonna look nuts with the fucking Unreal 5 engine though.
Yeah.
There's been some footage I've seen of Unreal 5 that I can't tell it's not real.
Yeah, it's insane. Epic Games is ridiculous.
It's nuts.
And I don't understand why other. I guess I can kind of understand from a business perspective of wanting to have another like your own thing, but in the sense of like Activision, they're not using it. They built their own from the bottom up.
Mm-hmm.
Why?
You know, it's kind of sad that he left already because we're getting into the good juicy shit.
I know, right?
I kept the good juicy shit at the end because you save the best for last, man. But hey.
And it's my episode back.
Yeah, it's your first time back.
In person.
So Splinter Cell Remake will update the story for a modern day audience. We want to keep the spirit and themes of the original game.
I don't believe you.
So a Splinter Cell Remake will be rewritten to be more relevant to a modern day audience. Whatever the fuck that means. A job listing for scriptwriter spotted by PSU has revealed some details about the upcoming Splinter Cell game, and it looks as though they're going to get a rewrite and update to the original. Using the first Splinter Cell game as our foundation, we are rewriting and updating the story for a modern-day audience, it reads.
It's going to include they, them.
Yeah, they, them. We want to keep the spirit and themes of the original game while exploring our characters in a world and the world to make them more authentic and believable. So Splinter Cell was originally released back in 2002 and introduced Sam Fisher, an NSA Black Ops agent who was investigating the disappearance of 2 CIA officers. As the story unfolds, Sam finds himself in the middle of a plot full of political intrigue as the world teeters on the brink of an all-out war. It's up to Sam to use his stealthy abilities to avert global crisis. Now it looks as though that crisis may have a more modern spin, although it's not clearly exactly what form it'll take. How much do you want to bet this is going to be left versus right shit?
It could be. That'd be interesting, though.
Or it's going to be like, we're going to focus on him going after Republicans. Like, what?
Oh, I mean, it's going to turn into propaganda, for sure. Especially if that's the spin on it. Definitely going to be propaganda for one side or the other.
I know. So now it looks as though that the crisis will have more of a modern spin, and that's exactly what form that will take. As scriptwriter at Ubisoft Toronto, you will join the narrative team and help create the cohesive and compelling narrative experience for a new audience of Splinter Cell fans, reads the listing. So there's been very little revealed about the project since the remake was announced last year. IGN Splinter Cell original crew review gave it a 9.4 out of 10 and said the incredible amount of polish and the sleek developed presentation, the functional nature of everything, the satisfying twist of play that focuses on logically deciphered situations that need to be solved with a keen eye and common sense, and the sheer amount of style, panache, and coolness attached, making Splinter Cell a valid and worthwhile addition to every patient, intelligent gamer's collection.
I feel like that told me nothing.
Let's see the IGN Splinter Cell original review. This is the IGN original review for the first one.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
So I honestly am worried about this because they're saying it's going to be open world, of course.
Yeah, that's like that's the thing now. Apparently.
Ubisoft not fucking straying away from their formula of making every game feel the same. So,
and it seems like open world is like the craze right now. So it's like BR.
It's really not though. It's a craze to a point, but the Ubisoft's way of going after open world is they think bigger is better when it's not. It really isn't. Bigger is not always better. Like if it's you can have a fucking vast ocean, but if it's only as deep as a puddle in a driveway, there's what's the fucking point?
I think it's because so many big games have went from kind of more linear to being open world, like God of War. When that was the first major.
God of War's open world is not exactly completely open world.
Yeah, it's got like a linear driven to it.
It's linear driven to a point where, you know,
you can veer off.
Everything you can only veer off, and like imagine a hallway with a bunch of different sub hallways. Yeah. That's essentially what it is.
But you still have to go back to the main hallway.
And to go anywhere, yeah. So like it only lets you go in certain places. You don't get full exploration except in certain places. Like if you go to the different realms, there are places in the realms you can kind of walk around, but only for so far. Whereas Midgard, being the main center of all of it, has a lot more open world to it, but not very much.
That's what I mean. Like I think they're taking that aspect to where that was like that was a major transition to how God of War was previously done, and I saw the success of that. And I've noticed other games that weren't really open world before have done that.
But the problem is a lot of those games have gone complete open world, where it's like instead of doing the way I was hoping if Splinter Cell does an open world formula, the only one that I could ever see truly working is one that like God of War did, where it's open world but in a linear fashion. Yeah, where it's linear driven, and there's open parts to that linear path, but where you can veer off and do whatever. But if they're going at like the fucking Ghost Recon approach, then it's not going to be fun.
It seems like they're doing it because it's easier to do, to sell skins and battle pass type stuff.
That's why they do it. Yeah,
loot stuff to make the mission easier, etc.
Yeah. So we're going to talk about the Department of Homeland Security being fuckers.
This is the Coast Guard.
So U.S. Homeland Security will spend $700,000 to investigate radicalization through video games.
Where are we getting this money? Aren't we in debt?
Yeah, I know, right? The initial work will lean towards the whole nationalism and white supremacy. So not truly terror organizations, only what they think is.
It's local terror organizations, I guess. In-house.
Domestic.
Yeah, there we go. Domestic.
So the United States Department of Homeland Security has awarded nearly $700,000 grant to the terrorism and security researchers to investigate radicalization through video games. As reported by Vice, the funds are headed to Middlebury Institute's Center on Terrorism, Extremism, and Counterterrorism, the nonprofit organization Take This, and company looking to curb toxic online behavior called Logically. So we're gonna fucking investigate toxic behavior in fucking video games?
Yeah, that's not gonna go well.
Where are our goddamn priorities with this shit?
Well, it's the same thing because you saw. I don't think you saw it, but I might have sent a picture. I tweeted it. The new code of conduct for like the beta from Activision.
Yeah, be nice, no toxicity.
Like don't talk shit to other players while we're gonna abuse our coworkers.
Yeah, right.
Our priorities aren't exactly straight right now.
So over the past decade, video games have increasingly become focal points of social activity and identity creation for adolescents and young adults. Relationships made and fostered within a game ecosystem routinely cross over to the real world and are impacted parts of local communities.
I need more evidence on that.
Yeah, so do I. The grant announcement on the DHS website said, correspondingly, extremists have used video games as targeted video game communities for activities ranging from propaganda creation to terrorist mobilization and training.
That's fair. I believe that.
I do believe that. One of the goals of this new project is to develop a set of best practices and centralized resources for monitoring and evaluation of extremist activities, as well as a series of training workshops for the monitoring, detection, and prevention of extremist exploitation in the gaming spaces for community managers, multiplayer designers, lore developers, mechanics designers, and trust and safety professionals. Mechanics designers, so don't make your shit accurate. The announcement notes that video game studios of all sizes, in many cases, are not fully educated on how these extremists may try to exploit their games in an effort to radicalize the players. White nationalists have unfortunately found a footing in this space, as there have been groups to stem who were openly espousing neo-Nazi beliefs and worshiping school shooters in the past. I think that is edgelord shit. That has nothing to do with it being real.
I bet you they're going to attack what's that game that you play? Ready or Not?
Yeah.
Because of that new DLC that they had, the school shooter.
The thing
one.
is, the school shooter one is you are stopping the school shooter. Like
Yeah.
no one's getting shot except the cops. Like, sure, the active shooter thing, but that one is fucking hard, dude. You got to save as many people as you can.
Yeah.
And you lose points for every person that dies.
Because it's more of a realistic situation.
It is like, but the thing is, it's like it sets you up to start off like people are getting shot already. It's like save as many as you can, and only to get an S tier or an A tier on that mission is to save everybody.
Wow.
And it's you can't move fast. Like there's no sprint option in that game, so you just kind of range walk a bit, and there's nothing you can do to get there faster.
Wow.
It's hard.
I mean, it's realistic too, I mean, we kind of covered it when it was first coming out that people just saw, school shooting.
Yeah, I know. So they thought you were going to go and shoot kids, but that's not the case.
Of course.
So the announcement notes that video game studios also, I already said that.
Take this, Dr. Rachel.
Steam has attempted to remove these groups, but the people behind this grant want to go further. Of course they do. The government always wants to go further.
Usually.
Take this, Dr. Rachel Cowart, CTEX, Alex Newhouse shared some of their early findings at this year's Game Development Conference, confirms that the initial focus will lean towards white nationalism and white supremacy. Hopefully, their efforts will make some lasting change in the industry and beyond. This effort comes in a time following a radically motivated mass shooting in Buffalo, New York, that was broadcasted on Twitch and saw 10 people killed and 3 more injured. So we're back to blaming video games again.
Yeah. Because video games, I was actually going to say that too. I'm like, because video games cause violence. Yeah.
Video games cause violence. It comes full circle. It's another fucking grab at trying to say video games cause fucking violence. When studies at Harvard and other places have shown that is not fucking true. If video games truly cause violence, we would all be murderers.
Yeah.
Every single one of us would be fucking out in the streets, killing bitches and stealing their fucking money, stealing their cars, living life like Grand Theft Auto, because that's what it apparently really does. But it really doesn't.
I'd have played no Russian and just gone and shot up a
That's the
fucking
thing.
airport.
It's just like, you really honestly think that someone with a rational mind is going to be doing shit like that? Because most video gamers have a relatively rational mind to know that is not a real thing you should do.
And what one of those studies found, I think I talked about this on one of my first episodes that we did. They found they took GTA as an example. What they found was while they were doing
that was during like in Illinois when they're trying to ban GTA 5.
And they found what the study had found was that they learned that the things that they did had consequences. So even though you kind of got to do some things for the game, but they learned that the things that they were doing had consequences to it. And what would happen when you did those. And that was the takeaway from it. Even though, in the game, you're still going to do that, but you know of those consequences. So that doesn't mean you're going to go do that in fucking real life because you know it's probably going to be a lot worse in reality because you don't have the capabilities that you do in the game, first of all.
And they're trying to say that, like, there is no consequence and that they're going to do it because they think there is no consequence, which is not fucking true.
Because in the game, like, you shoot one person and you've got, like, 4 stars.
Yeah, I know. It's dumb. It's the government trying to fucking reach in places that it shouldn't, and then the gaming space is going to be even shittier than it is now.
It's like a hell of a reach. That's like a Mr. Fantastic reach at that point.
I know. Like, they honestly think that that gaming is the cause for the fucking problems. It's just like, you could ban, like, because they thought Grand Theft Auto attributed all the shootings and carjackings in Chicago. When in actuality, it's just fucking Chicago. Like, it's I'm not saying this only happens in Chicago. I'm saying, like, no, that's just how it is in Chicago.
It's the same thing as back in, the 80s where they said rock music was the cause of all these suicides.
Satanics and shit.
Yeah.
Like, if you listen to fucking metal, you were a Satanist. It's like, no, you weren't.
No, they're not contributing.
Everybody wants to find a scapegoat. In politics, they want to find a scapegoat to rationalize something that's going on.
Yes.
So they point their fingers at something that is popular.
Essentially. This is what's happening. No, lag is what creates violence.
No, yeah, lag and hackers. Speaking of hackers, that was an accidental segue, by the way. Huge GTA 6 leak. Now, this is a week ago, and it's heavily developed since. GTA 6 leak includes gameplay footage of robbery, Vice City locations, and 2 playable characters. One of the biggest leaks in video game history. So on September 19th, a user on GTA forums called Teapot
Uber hacker.
Teapot Uber Hacker, thank you, posted 90 videos from the test build of Grand Theft Auto 6 running with GTA 5 and 6 source codes and assets. Screenshots and clips from these videos have gone around the YouTube, Twitter, and Reddit and elsewhere, which, by the way, we're not going to show any of this because Take-Two has been doing hardcore copyright scorched earth shit to get this shit removed.
It's crazy how easy they can do that.
I know it is. And with details and other recent GTA 6 leak, as well as an earlier one, both of which suggested the upcoming open world game will have two protagonists, a man and a woman, and be set in and around the Miami-esque Vice City. The legitimacy of these videos have been confirmed by Rockstar, an unauthorized third-party illegally accessed and downloaded confidential information from our systems, including 2 early development footage of the next Grand Theft Auto, the company wrote.
That's how you know it's serious when the company even admits it.
No, that's why everyone realized it was real. Because after it happened, people were like, "Is this real?" Because it looks real, and then Rockstar said it's real, and that was that's why it became huge.
I think it's because it has like the source codes and everything. Like if it were just a couple images, they could be like, "Nah."
No, I mean, even still, like it's very hard to say no because if you look at the videos, it was definitely developing videos. It was like it was videos of the developer working on mechanics, and it was only supposed to be shared with other developers. And it was stuff like that, like where it had the assets in there and the coding for all of it within the video, not just the source code on its own. So Rockstar admitted that the videos you're seeing are actually are real. They're legit. So, but a lot of it was also asked if it was real because over the years there's been false GTA 6 leaks, like circulating Twitter and shit, and but this one was actually legit because that was the first thing when I posted about it in Regiment. People were like, was that real?" And I said that was confirmed as real. Yeah, it was real.
Because the first one I remember seeing because there was the mugshot of that dude that they ended up saying was not the guy.
Yeah.
But that everything else was still accurate.
Yes. So, GTA publisher Take-Two has begun using copyright rules to get the videos taken down from any mainstream website that hosts them.
Mainstream website.
I mean, even the small ones are getting hit too. In fact, there was a mistake that happened where a person was just talking about it on their YouTube video.
Wow.
And that got claimed. But Take-Two eventually reversed it because they were like, I didn't even show anything. I just talked about it.
Yeah.
And it was looking like Take-Two was going so scorched earth that they were taking down people videos of just even talking about the situation.
So they could investigate it and see if they showed it.
Maybe that's what they were doing, but apparently it was like Take-Two said that was an accident. They didn't mean to.
Okay.
I think they were just going off of labels and then just hitting copyright strikes
Okay.
and not actually looking into the context of them. So people were just like, hey, why are you taking down videos of people just discussing this? Like that's wrong. And they admitted it was a mistake and they reversed it.
Yeah, that's fair. I'll give them credit.
So
they admitted fault. Then.
In one video, a player character named Lucia robs a waffle restaurant, like a Waffle House, with an accomplice named Jason taking hostages like they're in Pulp Fiction. A meter counts down time until cops dispatched. And it all looks reminiscent of the robberies in Red Dead Redemption 2. In spite of the mannequin NPCs clipping through objects, placeholder dialogue, text like Jason, generic curse to self. That made me think about, have you seen New Guy?
Yeah. Or no, that's not New Guy.
Not New Guy.
Free Guy.
Free Guy.
Yeah.
Free Guy where it's just like
catchphrase.
Yeah. That reminded me of that when I was looking at that. I'm like, that reminds me of fucking Free Guy.
Yes.
So, yeah, but it said text like Jason and generic curse to self and a cop car that's been recycled from GTA 5 only with VCPD written on it. And a poolside conversation between a male player character and a couple of redneck associates, we hear some very GTA dialogue such as, oh yeah, he's dead, is he? Just like there's a country called Finland. This is just dialogue. The notification saying what up, message received during a sequence in a strip club suggests a parody of WhatsApp, another very Rockstar thing to do, as does setting entire scenes in a strip club complete with detailed pole dancing.
Yeah, that's true.
The previous GTA 6 leak claimed the game has been in development since 2014 and was originally codenamed Project Americas, which I remember hearing about that
I don't remember
a while back. They said Rockstar is working on Project Americas, and people believe that it was the next GTA 6, which they speculated that was going to be every GTA map that they had, which is not true because the real map leaked, and it's huge. It's bigger than the Red Dead map, but it's not all the maps.
Yeah, because their original plan, because they wanted it more open world.
They wanted more open world, and they wanted to connect all of their Grand Theft Auto maps into one, but I don't think they could figure out how to make that work.
And I think what they said was like it's similar to that, but it's not as huge.
And not at that scale. So these files, which have the word Americas in their names, and some of which show a version running on PlayStation 4 dev kit, may well be several years old. A source with knowledge of GTA 6's development told PC Gamer that the majority of the videos would likely have been attached to bug reports from QA testers. The person apparently responsible for the GTA 6 informant heist has also claimed responsibility for hacking Uber. The FBI is investigating.
How do you what do you get out of hacking Uber?
Money.
Yeah. I guess
So that was the other thing. This is why this got big. The FBI got involved. So come to find out, the source code leak was not nearly as bad as initially thought, because they thought they got the whole source code, and they didn't. Rockstar basically more or less confirmed that this is only a fraction of the source code.
But I mean,
it's not enough to do really anything.
Wouldn't they want to say that regardless, though?
Yeah, but at the same time, Rockstar doesn't really seem too concerned about the source code, because they think that a lot of the shit that this guy is saying, he's lying about, because he's claiming to have some of these things, but he hasn't. And like up until he went dark, he was pouring the shit out, but the source code part was not being poured out. It was only like a fraction of it, but all the videos and stuff were. If he really did have it all, why wasn't he pouring it all out?
He was drip feeding it.
He was drip feeding it. Now they do believe he did get the entire source code of GTA 5.
Well, we talked about that a while back, didn't we?
Or was that something else? This was something else. That was the Ricochet hacking anti-cheat.
Yes.
Where the source code got leaked.
That's right.
But apparently he also got some early photos of the canceled Bully game from Rockstar, and he also got some assets showing of the Red Dead Redemption remaster. But those never actually circulated. So we're actually going to talk about
beating a dead horse enough on that, pun intended.
So we're going to talk about Rockstar confirming the leak, and it says that it will work continue as planned, because everyone speculated that this would get delayed significantly. So the developers have assured that fans that there should be no disruption to current game services nor any delays to upcoming projects. Rockstar Games just released a statement on the official Twitter page verifying the leak of the GTA 6 that was spread yesterday. The developers were reportedly devastated and having their work in progress seen by so many before it was ready to be public consumption. Rockstar's statement confirms the leak is real and was the result of a network intrusion of which an unauthorized third party illegally accessed and downloaded early development footage of Grand Theft Auto. So while a leak of this size is certain to cause a stir to many development studio, Rockstar also assured fans that we do not anticipate any disruption in our live game services nor any long-term effects of the development of our ongoing projects. While it doesn't outright say there won't be delays due to this leak, this would surely constitute long-term effect.
What's with the craze of live game service?
Money.
What I mean, yes, that's generally going to be the craze or motivation behind any of it, but it's weird. So many games are talking about we're going to be a live game service. It sounds like they're going down the mobile gaming path.
Well, the statement concludes that by informing us that Rockstar will update us soon and properly introduce us to GTA 6 when it's ready. Now, there's speculation that reveal is in October. So Take-Two Interactive's Rockstar parent company, infamously litigious lawyers, are already issuing DMCA strikes to get leaked footage removed from the internet. But as we all know, once something is online, it's out there forever. True. Developers and fans have all offered words of support for Rockstar devs affected by this leak, and many have taken this as an opportunity to remind special fans that this game is likely still years out, and for a work in progress, it already looks remarkable, which it does. They're saying that probably 2025, 26 is when we'll get it.
That was what was talked about previously too. They mentioned it's like 4 or 5 years out.
Yeah. So there's currently a rumor that a 16-year-old hacker is responsible for leaking the 90 videos that total over an hour of footage. Another hacker is allegedly tried to ransom the source code to GTA 5 alongside confidential GTA 6 documents. Now, with that, the guy was arrested yesterday.
Like officially yesterday.
Yes.
Like the 24th.
He was arrested yesterday. Let me see if I can actually get it up.
Huh. That's what she said.
Oh, so 2 days ago. So let me hit the right button
Oh,
here.
yeah, because you mentioned the 17-year-old. That's right.
Yeah, so busted. UK police arrest 17-year-old hacker in connection with the GTA 6 leaks.
That's crazy. So this dude is uber smart, and he's only 17.
Yeah,
So
and he
that
chooses
means-
to do this shit. But
so
he
that-
wasn't smart enough to cover his tracks, apparently.
Well, everyone slips up eventually. But you got to think, kids these days that are growing up doing code, like look at Campbell. Campbell's like, what, 19?
20.
He just turned 20?
He's 20, yeah.
He's a fucking genius with coding and doing all this shit.
I know, he helped me with my homework.
Exactly. Like, it's just because they're growing up in this society of technology, so they're starting it very early. So they're also getting very good at it when their minds are very formable and malleable. So this dude's 17 and he's able to hack major companies and do this shit and get away with it for a really long time. Granted, most people, especially when you're young, you're gonna slip up somewhere.
Yeah.
But the fact that he's able to do that at 17 is fucking insane.
It's crazy. I mean, it sucks that he chooses to do this with it, but
True. Should have joined Anonymous, bro. But
I know. Former Reuters journalist says the investigation is being done jointly with the FBI. So, UK police have arrested 17-year-old Oxfordshire as part of an ongoing police hacking investigation. According to sources spoken by ex-Reuters journalist Matt Keyes, the arrest is directly related to the recent hack at Rockstar Games and subsequent historic leaks of GTA 6 materials, and possibly last week's intrusion on Uber 2.
I want to know what happened to Uber.
So it says right here, update, the 17-year-old hacking suspect was arrested, believed to be connected to a group identifying itself as Lapsus, a group that organizes primarily via Telegram channels. So police confirmed 17-year-old arrested over hacking incident. Sources say the crime is related to intrusion in Rockstar Games, possibly Uber Technologies.
So we're just repeating ourselves.
Yeah, we are. So the news comes a few days after Uber revealed that the hack on its systems, which Rockstar hacker also took credit for, was being investigated by the FBI. Key reports that the 17-year-old's arrest by the City of London's police was done in concert with the investigation conducted by the FBI. He adds that the police are expected to release more information on the arrest later today, and that a statement from the FBI is also possible. Earlier this week, Uber said it believed the hack on its systems was carried out by an individual or group affiliated with a hacking group called Lapsus, which also had been tied to attacks to companies with Microsoft, Samsung, and Cisco. These suspicions have been well-founded. Key's source says that the suspect in custody, believed to be connected to a group identifying itself as Lapsus, were just saying the same fucking thing over and over again. Now, there's a pre-existing history between Lapsus and teen hackers. It was only this March that a 16-year-old was arrested on suspicion of being a multimillionaire cyber criminal and leader of the group, which that arrest is related to this is still unclear at this point. Those are all the details we have been made public pending the release of further statements of the UK authorities or the FBI. And of course, it's notable how closely the details of the arrest echo suspicions and allegations turned up by previous reporting on the Rockstar hack. Now, let's actually see what's going on. Go back. I hate when articles don't let you fucking leave.
Oh yeah, they're like, why don't you subscribe? Did you mean to subscribe? You click back. Are you sure
Let's
you don't want to
see.
subscribe?
GTA 6 hacker arrested. Now, I wonder if there's more info. GTA 6 hack. Police confirm they've charged the teenager with LinkedIn breach.
It probably won't show an image because he's a minor.
Not in the UK. It's not a minor. City of London police said Saturday, a 17-year-old was arrested in Oxfordshire Thursday. So he's being charged with 2 counts of breach of bail conditions and 2 counts of computer misuse.
I feel that's a broad term.
Well, he was hacking, so it's computer misuse. And he was breaching his probation. So while police have not commented on the arrest as related to months of Rockstar breach, cited, let's see. There's got to be more info here.
It's where I feel like we're just still repeating ourselves.
Oh, the team is said to
the
associate
NVIDIA
with a
hack.
group called Lapsus, allegedly arrested earlier this year for hacking with NVIDIA. I wonder if they were involved with that fucking
I remember that.
Because you know, now that I'm thinking about it, them saying that they were when they hacked NVIDIA and got the source code from NVIDIA and were saying that they were going to leak it out unless they fucking enabled the crypto shit. And this dude was also like a crypto guy.
Yeah. That makes sense.
It seems very familiar that this was the same fucking dude for that NVIDIA hack like several months ago.
So it's all about their money.
Yeah, it's all because them ransoming it out was similar to how they did with Rockstar.
Mm-hmm.
Which is, now that I'm thinking about it, this is definitely the same guy. It has to be.
So they're like the evil anonymous.
Pretty much. So the law enforcement said at least 2 other people are believed to be involved in the attack against Rockstar and Uber, and additional arrests are expected, and was likely to go down as one of the game's most high-profile data leaks ever. More than an hour of Grand Theft Auto 6 development footage was published last week. We already know that.
What was the Uber hack? What?
I don't know. They claim to have obtained leaked assets via an internal Slack channel and said that they were also behind the recent Uber data breach in which Slack at its center too.
So I found that Slack is like Discord.
I almost wonder if it was the same shit. It was like it was just a breach of data when it comes to the Uber. Nothing so much like they were hacking and like stealing shit. They were just breaching data and then selling the data.
I mean, technically, I guess that's a hack.
Uber said it believes the attacker or attackers are affiliated with the hacking system Lapsus, which we already said. The hacking collective is thought to be responsible for a series of cyber attacks with fucking NVIDIA, Microsoft, Ubisoft, Samsung, and Vodafone. There's more and more every time I read this.
Yeah, they're just like adding more companies. Interesting.
So
I want
to talk about real quick the people that were fucking dogging on the footage they saw from the hack. Because they were saying that this footage, the game looks like shit. It's like, yeah. And they were saying this looks unfinished. Because it was.
Yeah, this wasn't playable footage.
This wasn't something that you were ever supposed to fucking see.
Developing footage.
Literally
developing
and
for the game.
They're just saying it looks like shit. Like it's gonna look like shit because of the fact that this is an unfinished fucking game.
Mm-hmm.
Like you're watching development footage. And not only that, but you're watching development footage from several years ago.
And like at its core too, because most people don't know that, like the reason. So like wall hacks, for example, wall hacks are just in.
It's getting into the developer's code to see things.
Yeah, because
see
developers
assets.
are able to see those when they're creating the game, and that's how they're able to do that.
And
They
the
just
developer
taped it
tools
out.
are still embedded within the game,
Yeah,
within the game.
They have to be, and that's the thing, because that's how they're able to use those for like the CDL tournaments, like LAN for first-person shooter, for example. How the audience can see the people behind walls and everything, but the players can't see that.
Yeah.
So they still have the developer tool. They have to be in the game. That doesn't make sense that they wouldn't be there. So they're just hacking into that.
Well, even that with debugging, like they need to have that for debugging reasons too.
Yeah. So people don't realize that that's how a game is made. Like you have to have those assets. It doesn't look like how you play it.
Hacking sources are not just third-party things that are thrown into the game. It's more of like a third-party breach of the code that allows you to use certain development sources.
Yeah.
To allow you to see things, to aimbot, to do other stuff, to fuck with the performance of something, to enhance something. You know, like the unlock thing. That was just like, you know, all the code for unlocking that shit is there.
Exactly.
But like when you killed the hacker, like it unlocked everything for you. And that was only put in because they made the code where like it did that. Like it just boosted everything when you hit them. Like it hacked the XP for all of those things at once. So when you killed the hacker, it just boosted all your XP for everything on that weapon and everything else. And that's how that happened. So all these things, all these hacks are they're already in the game.
Exactly.
They're just not hacks. They're only called hacks because a third party got their hands on it. And that's the problem with the source code with the fucking Ricochet. Is the anti-cheat is supposed to basically firewall off your ability to get access to that information and exploit it. But if you have the source code to the firewall, you can get through the firewall.
Exactly.
So that's how this shit works. And people are just thinking that it's third party shit. Why are they allowing this to happen? It's like they're not allowing it to happen. These things are already in the game for the developers to use, and other people are just getting their hands on it.
And I mean, like the stick figures that you see, like that's part of the game. That's how the development is done.
Yeah.
And then the look of
I mean,
it,
like what you're talking about with the Modern Warfare 2 beta. Well, you see this. It's all that, but I noticed there was a lot more stick figurey.
I haven't seen it in the beta, but just in general, most like wall stuff that you see.
Oh, you
is
haven't seen it in the beta?
You see the lines, and you see the people that are like stick figures through the map, because that's how the game was developed. That was in the game before they put the look of the game there, before they put the skins on everything, before it is how you see it. All of that is the underlying, because that's how they fucking test it and how the game is built. You can't have like the skin and everything. Like it's like a person. You can't have our skin and everything without our skeletal system. Like in X-ray, you see our skeletal system. That's why they say like X-ray vision, you can see everything behind something.
So here, let's talk about this real quick since we're talking about hacks. So Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2 beta matches ruined by hackers.
The 2019 beta was the same way too.
I know it was. All of them were. So the open beta for the Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2 is live, though many players are discovering that multiplayer already has a hacking problem. With the open beta for Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2 now live, many players are finding that matches are being ruined by cheaters and hackers. Unfortunately, this issue has been all too common for the recent entries in the Call of Duty series. In fact, previous betas for Black Ops Cold War, Vanguard had similar issues, while the wall hacking and aimbotting problems plagued Warzone has well been documented already. While cheating has been a very common issue with the Call of Duty games, many players likely expected the issue to be minimized thanks to the addition of Activision's Ricochet anti-cheat system, which we all fucking said wasn't going to work. I said this, especially because the source code got leaked. I told somebody this. The source code was leaked. The anti-cheat system is going to be very ineffective. And they said, you don't know what you're talking about. I'm like, okay.
And you notice it's always for the betas too.
And not even just the betas, like the full game when they fully launched Ricochet, people are saying, oh, the cheating has gone down significantly. I'm like, it will for a little bit.
Yeah.
It always comes back, and it has. It came back, and it's almost like it's not even changed.
Because you always have to tweak it.
You have to tweak it.
No matter what.
And that was the thing with Ricochet. Ricochet apparently changes all the time, but because the fucking source code got leaked out, they can see the changes, and they can make adjustments to the hacking for the changes.
Yeah.
So it's like the Ricochet doesn't work. It hasn't worked yet. It still hasn't changed shit. And they keep going, and we're actually going to talk about this.
Well, it has. It's so like back when we were playing like Verdansk days, how every fucking game was like that and multiple people. It's not like that now.
Maybe it's not every game, but it's still a lot of them.
It's mostly Cronus people now.
Still. It's because they don't feel like fucking buying new cheats, so they just want to fucking use Cronus because it's easier. But the point I'm getting at is that their response to this is saying we're going to start banning the hackers. Like, you're doing the same thing that you did last time. This is a definition of insanity. You're doing the same shit you did before. We're going to address this and expect a different result off the same fucking thing that you're doing to try to fix it.
But it's a free game, so
this is not a free game. It's a $70 game.
Well, the beta is actually free too.
So, while cheating, let's see. For whatever reason, that doesn't seem to be the case for Modern Warfare 2 beta. Players have been finding their matches to be ruined by hackers using tools like aimbot and perfect headshots or wall hacks to see where players are at all times.
So this was actually this was after I stopped playing because I didn't experience this.
So clips have been appearing. This has only been happening in the last few days. So clips have been appearing online, including a TikTok with Modern Warfare 2 beta plug on Twitter. Short clip is from. Oh, here, I'll just show it to you.
Wow.
Yeah. See, this is the. Yeah. No, we're not. We're turning that shit down. But yeah. You see, he can see all of it, and this is the beta.
Yeah. That's ridiculous.
I know.
That's definitely. That's my thing is, as a console player, this is the problem when we fucking play with PC players. Because on the PlayStation beta, this wasn't a problem. When I played with the pre-order people, which technically there were some PC people in there, wasn't really a problem until it became open for everybody to play because it was free at that time.
Open betas are the worst. I mean, they're not even betas; they're fucking demos. Stop calling them beta.
But when it became open to everybody, that's when the cheating fucking really started.
I know. So, other places like the Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2 subreddit has also seen new posts about hacking issues during their beta phase. One post created by Punch Your Leg features of, where do people come up with these names, dude?
I have no idea.
A video clip showing a player getting a drop on another player before getting taken out suddenly from seemingly nowhere in particular. The kill cam shows the enemy player using an exploit by glitching through the building, able to shoot through the wall without being seen. If that's an exploit, that's really not.
They did have an exploit in the beginning, and they took out the map that had it, and it got fixed. Because there was a...
Is this the clip? Well, we'll see. So he's moving around. Oh, wow. Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
So there was a wall glitch in
Yo,
the
what's
map.
up with the TTK in this game?
It's because of connection. The TTK is actually really good, but because they don't prioritize connection with SBMM, there are some times when it feels like you're deleted instantly because the connection is bad.
So skill-based matchmaking is causing all kinds of problems now.
As it has been for years.
It always has been.
Yeah. Because they don't prioritize connection. Connection should never be secondary to SBMM. But that was talked about in the first weekend, and they took out the map like very quickly, and then they patched it.
I like this statement here. While things seem concerning now, there are still a few weeks for Infinity Ward to address the issue.
That's wishful thinking.
That is hardcore wishful thinking because it takes more than weeks for them to do this.
Oh, look at the second sentence.
Thankfully, Ricochet will be available day one for both Modern Warfare 2 and multiplayer as well as Warzone. So perhaps with a few tweaks from the data received during the open beta, the game could be better protected from the start, which it fucking won't. It will not change. It's the same shit. Like the hacking, they don't give a fuck. They never have. Ricochet is apparently the worst anti-cheat system that any game has had. This is like the minimum, doing the bare minimum to expect a good result out of it, just to show that they are doing something.
Yeah,
They're not trying hard enough to stop the cheating.
They're doing enough.
I'm not a Call of Duty player, not anymore, but even still.
They're doing enough to keep enough players to make enough money.
Exactly.
To keep making money.
But all the clips all over fucking TikTok. I see dudes on live TikTok all the time on Warzone right now, hacking over and over again. These dudes have been doing it for fucking months. I see them, they come across their lives all the time. And they're cheating. And this has been going months now of them cheating.
The sad part is it gets them fucking views, too.
It does get them views.
People will complain about it.
Because people are pissed off and they'll see it and it gives them the fucking views.
But they'll also watch it.
I know.
You know what I mean? Like, they'll be pissed off about it, but then they'll watch it.
And then they'll comment, "You're why this game sucks." It's like, but you're feeding into this guy.
Yeah, exactly.
You're giving him the attention. You're doing exactly what he wants you to do.
Exactly.
So stop feeding into that. But like,
stop it. Get some help.
Even still, the problem still remains that like this anti-cheat that they've rolled out, it does the bare minimum, and it hasn't changed. But the fact that everyone's like, "Well, Ricochet's here." Yeah, Ricochet's here, but it doesn't do shit.
And I want to talk about people are mentioning, because Epic Games talked about how they're banning Cronuses. Like if you're using a Cronus Zen or a Cronus device, and a lot of people are saying, "Oh, look, Activision, do the same shit." It's not gonna work.
No, it's not,
because you can't detect those. The reason being because that software uses, they use approved, controller software. That's why it's not detectable, because it reads as a controller.
Yeah.
As an approved controller or approved mouse and keyboard. That's why you're able to use them to use mouse and keyboard on consoles and vice versa. But they have those macros that make it so where your controller is just the best modded controller ever. But it's still the input that is being read is as a controller. You can't fucking detect that. Until it's a device that is an unapproved source, they can say, "Oh, we're going to ban all these Cronus people," but the source itself is still accepted, so you can't detect it.
I know. That's when they said banning the Cronus, I'm like, I don't know how you're going to do that.
You can't. It's a PR statement to make people happy because everyone
it's to
complains
bolster
about
confidence, and
Yeah.
it's a very fucking empty thing that they're trying to do.
Because everyone knows that Cronus is such a huge thing, and it's a very widespread thing, and a lot of people fucking use it. And it's bullshit. It's still technically cheating. But the fact that it's not traceable is the fact that they want to make a statement about it that says, "We're going to do something about this. We understand this is an issue," but in reality, they can't.
No, they can't.
It's
not
just
at
not
all.
possible. And you can claim someone is using it all you want, but you can't prove it because it shows up as source code from an approved controller.
Right.
Like,
Here's what I will say about Modern Warfare 2. It's going to be the same COD cycle as it always has been. It's going to be really popular for the beginning. Then it's going to stay popular because of Warzone. People are going to hate it. Cheating is not going to change.
And DMZ.
And DMZ, I think, is going to die. I think DMZ is going to be popular for about 2 weeks.
If it's free, I don't think it will.
I think even still, if it's free, it'll probably be. I mean, honestly, that is kind of hard to say because I'm going off of like other games utilizing that kind of mode, but they weren't. They also weren't free. Is DMZ free?
Yeah, I think it's going to be because it's coming out the same day as Warzone.
That might help. Honestly, it might help. Everyone's like all about check out the third person mode. I think that's going to die out soon too. I don't think that's going to catch on very well.
It's an interesting mode.
It's an interesting mode, but I don't think it's going to bolster the popularity that they think it might.
I think that's more to bring over people of other games that have third person, like Fortnite, etc.
I don't think it's going to last though.
It's an interesting. I played it. It's not a bad mode. I don't like it because you go from third person to first person while you're aiming, and then back to third person, and it just fucks with my vision.
I don't like that at all.
Yeah,
there's no option to turn that off.
No. It's like how in Fortnite when you have
snipers. That alone is a reason why I think it won't last because
it's like a trend right now.
It's like you sure you have third person when moving, but when you aim to shoot, like you're aiming down the sights of the gun.
Mm.
Give them an option to turn that off if they want to, or toggle it as they're aiming.
Yeah,
like Ghost Recon does. Ghost Recon has the option to toggle third person and first person view when you're aiming.
And then again, they could technically because we didn't have access to all of the settings in the.
Yeah, that is true.
The demo version.
Yeah, the demo, like the fucking demos, never really let you have access to all the features.
So it could have that feature in there. We just couldn't change it. So technically, I don't know. They might.
That's how Vanguard was. There was a lot of features that. Or was it Vanguard or another game? No, it was Battlefield. There was a lot of features because I remember I played the beta or demo, and I was like, I can't fucking change anything. And it's because you weren't allowed to. It wouldn't let you.
And we get to the other regular game and it had all the settings and everything.
Yeah.
So it could be in there. I just didn't like it because of that aspect. Now, if you're able to change it, it's a cool mode.
If you can toggle it, I think if you could toggle it, it might get popular. But if it's where it's always going to be first person aim down sight as you're running third person, I think people are gonna be over that pretty quick because I don't think they're gonna give it the time to get used to it. But even still, putting the time in to get used to it, it still doesn't feel comfortable.
It doesn't.
It's just watching it and not playing it. It doesn't feel comfortable to see it.
It's strange. I think it's just because it is Call of Duty. It just feels fucking weird.
I play a lot of third person games, and I can choose to toggle first person if I want to. If I were to play a third-person game where it always toggled first person when I aimed, I would probably never play it because it doesn't. Watching somebody else do it, even though I'm not personally experiencing it, it doesn't feel good to see it. It doesn't feel.
Yeah.
It's not a comfortable thing to see. I can't imagine when you're playing it and you're trying to do something and like you get eyes on something and you want to aim down sights on shit.
Yeah, it fucks with you.
It probably fucks with your aim too.
More than likely. I played one game and I was like, I'm never playing this again. This is terrible. I can't do
See, in shit like that, I honestly don't think that third-person mode is going to catch on.
That third-person mode is ass.
I'm
talking about spectator mode.
Oh.
The spectator mode where they basically made it like a little GoPro, like how cops have on their uniforms.
I kind of thought that was cool.
It's cool if it's an option. But if that's the base only spectator mode, that's trash.
What's wrong with it?
Well,
Ready or Not has it like that.
For example, when somebody is cheating, especially in Call of Duty, you can't tell.
Oh, yeah, you're right. You
can't see their perspective. You have no fucking idea. You can't watch that. You're just seeing them from a GoPro, and unless it's super fucking blatant.
Or like a helmet
obvious. It's just like a chest cam because it's like off to the side because you can see the weapon. So it's almost like it's right on your.
It's like right here.
Yeah, like right on the shoulder or something. And it's a cool idea. I think if it's an option, that's fair. But
which nobody's going to run that option.
I think,
especially because they want to see if people are cheating.
Yeah, well, I think some people might because I think it's cool. It's a cool aspect in some ways to have that as an option.
It adds like a realism effect of like you're watching a helmet cam feed.
Yeah, it gives a bit of a different feed to it, which I think is cool if it's an option. But to completely replace the spectator mode, there's no fucking way. There's no way. They've got to at least make it an option or something. Or that could be like their new subtle way of being able to be like, oh, there's not that much cheating because you can't really tell because you can't see from the other person's perspective.
That's how like hardcore games like Hell Let Loose is. It's really hard to tell if someone's cheating. You have to look at their score.
Wow.
Like, because there's no way to spectate anybody. So you have to look at their score, and if their score is high, like extremely high, then there's a high probability that they're cheating.
So I could see this as another aspect of that, because there was something else that they did a while back, I remember, that kind of undercut ways to tell if somebody was cheating. Or no, it was Battlefield. That's right. They took away the scoreboard or whatever, and people were like, "Oh yeah, we can't even tell if somebody's fucking cheating now." So I mixed up the two games, but it could be the same premise as they're having that as you can't see from their perspective, so you don't really know if they're cheating. So our cheating problem is not that big of a deal,
right? Well, listen, you ready to wrap this up? Because I gotta take you back to Schaumburg.
What we got? Is that all the topics?
That was it.
Oh well,
that was that was all of it.
Damn it, Nelson, you couldn't have been fucking here for another like 30 minutes.
And his Activision update, he missed it.
Yeah, and he was even excited, sort of. He's like, "Oh no, Activision! Yeah, we got Activision." Technically,
yeah. Well, we'll wrap this up, and it's good to have you back.
I mean, even
at least for
at
one,
least for an episode
in person, I should say.
Yeah, I mean, I do enjoy doing them from the distance because it's still something.
I prefer in person.
I know you do.
I'm gonna try to have a guest on soon. My VSO, my Veteran Services Officer, that's
cool.
helping me with disability and stuff. I used to work with him, and I play with him and stuff.
Security job?
No, I worked with him when I was a pipe fitter.
Oh, okay.
So I'm gonna try to get him on soon. Hopefully, he doesn't have some stupid bullshit he's got to do. Oh, October 1st, I have to. I'm doing an event with a veteran service office where they're doing a veteran stand down, and I'm the regiment rep for it. So I'm gonna have a booth and shit. I'm still waiting on Stack Up to send me the fucking business cards and shit to hand out.
Damn, I don't even have business cards yet. I have that little picture.
I reached out to them and asked for them because I told them what I was doing, and I said I was wondering if I could get some of these.
I did too, and then it just never happened.
They responded to me. They said that they asked for my address and everything.
Well, I didn't do it for Stack Up. Mine was through Brandon because I was trying to get just the cards with the Discord thing on the back.
Well, you know why you didn't get them? Because they're pinned in the barracks.
This was before that.
They're flyers that are pinned in the barracks.
This was before that too. So
really?
Because I was supposed to get them to hand out the hikes.
Okay. Oh, fuck. Yeah, I know.
That's the sad part.
I know. Chris didn't even have flyers for the American Legion convention. He just printed them out. He didn't have anything.
Man needs a PR team.
He needs a PR team.
Man needs a PR team.
If he wants,
with as big as it's getting, he's doing a lot himself.
He's gonna need a PR team at some point.
It's just getting to the point. It's so big. You just can't handle it all yourself, man.
No, you can't. I mean, there are a lot of things he's not handling himself. He does have other people for it, but when it comes to PR stuff, I'm like, he really should have a PR team.
What are you looking at?
Why does it look like some of my blue lights are not on that side?
It's because they are.
No, there's a third section of it that isn't showing, but when I look at the lights, I don't see them.
I have no idea.
That is weird.
I only see two.
Yeah, I see two also, but there's in the reflection of the TV, it shows a third set.
Strange. I'm so confused.
I am too.
Well then.
Very interesting, I should say. Anyway, let's wrap this up.
Like the video.
Like the video. Subscribe to the video. I got with a graphic designer on Fiverr to give me a new intro and outro for this.
I think an outro would be. I like the intro. I think the intro's pretty good.
I mean, the intro's pretty good, but I want something more custom to what we do, especially for the outro, because I don't have one. I'm just trying to get some brand assets for the podcast so I can throw it on YouTube and shit.
What's wrong with the intro?
It's not really what I want it to be. It's just that was honestly going to be supplementary anyway. You talking about the logo reveal?
I think so.
The logo reveal is fine. I mean, we'll see how it goes for the other one. I might actually use his intro for something completely different, like for the YouTube streams. So mostly I'm just trying to get new intro, outro, and other graphical assets to use for what I'm doing here, but I want it to have more of a custom feel versus something that I went online and just embedded my logo into like a file and then like it just rendered it like Render Forest.
Okay.
I don't want to have to get a fucking intro that everybody else in the world can get. I want to get one that's more custom made.
Yeah. You saw the one, I mean, I've had it for a while, but my stream intro, the video one.
I haven't seen it yet. I haven't been watching anybody.
I might have sent it to you, but it was made by one of the regiment people. It's like 25 seconds to 30 seconds long. So I think I'm gonna be starting doing on regular videos that I edit and put up. I'm shortening it to like the very end portion that it like kind of flashes my name, and it's like 2 to 3 seconds long as an intro.
Yeah.
Where it doesn't go through the full part and like welcome to the stream. Where if it's a video, it's not a stream. I think I'm just gonna cut it down.
Yeah. I can't wait to actually start doing more shit on YouTube. It's gonna be a long time before I actually get to do stuff because school stuff takes priority.
Yeah, clips and shorts though.
That's what I'm gonna try to start doing more of. So
I've seen a lot of progress on YouTube compared to TikTok.
I know that's why I'm gonna start doing it more. I'm probably gonna do away with TikTok.
I wouldn't. It's still another
I
platform.
mean, I'll do it, but I don't really post. Like,
You just repost. Honestly, that's literally what I do. And sometimes I'll use the editing stuff from TikTok, like their sounds or whatever, if it's funny and it goes with it. Because when you post it, it'll download the video as well, or at least I have it set to where it'll save that version, and then I'll take that post and I'll put it on YouTube Shorts.
I'll definitely be giving it a go, but
because it's the same fucking video. I'm just reposting it in another location.
Yeah.
Because then I put it on Reels, same video, just re-upload.
Well, listen, let's wrap this up. Good to have you here again. The wedding was fun.
That was okay.
I mean, it would have been worse if I wasn't there.
Yeah, it significantly would have been worse.
So anyway, thank you guys for hanging out with us. We love y'all. We appreciate y'all. Have a good rest of your week.
Be in person.
He won't be in person next time. He'll probably be a guest or Nelson. So we'll see you next week. Love y'all.
Like the video.
Bye.